Badfinger. Badfinger is the name of that band. And no, that wasn't Paul McCartney singing, was it?
I call it Beetlefinger.
It's not a bad little title for them.
No, it's not a cut. I'm not trying to make fun.
No.
I mean it in a nice way.
Sure. Of course you do.
You're a Beetlefinger.
Joey Jojo, points.
Thank you.
Point.
If you
Okay.
tell me what TV series ended with that song.
Okay.
Very famous.
I am going to say Growing Pains.
Growing Pains.
Why?
Why would anyone say Growing Pains?
Sit.
Chris Stanley, points.
The Wire.
How does everyone not remember this? It was fucking gigantic.
Oh, wait, Friends.
Breaking Bad.
Friends. Oh, yeah.
Breaking Bad.
Oh, my God. I'm so stupid.
Breaking Bad finger.
Not Growing
I should have
Pains.
guessed it because you didn't go to me and you know I haven't seen it.
I didn't want to ruin it for you.
I know.
Plus, I don't think girls know trivia the way
Spoiler
boys
alert,
do.
it ends. There was the last episode? Oh.
That song, all right, first of all, I like any power pop song. I like anybody who sounds like the Beatles. But there's something that annoys me in the song is that he's calling her Baby Blue. And then another time he goes Dixie. And I'm like, Dixie? Where's this fucking name show up 3 verses into this thing? Now we're calling her Dixie?
He didn't seem that into her. He didn't know her goddamn name.
I mean, Dixie is a pretty spot on. I'll say this. I've never even met anyone named Dixie in my life. It's not like if he would have just suddenly said Katie or something.
Right.
You know, like, oh, okay, I get why he's got a nickname. But if your name is Dixie, that's plenty. You don't go out and Baby Blue as a second nickname.
That's clearly a double nickname situation.
Yeah.
I've never met a Dixie, let alone a whistling Dixie. They've always
my
talked.
God, I worry about you if tonight's going to be your night. Tonight is the big show, the big turkey social that we're doing over at the Hard Rock. Now, Stanley, I thought this would have been perfect for you to scope this, right? And I said, Chris Stanley's going to be scoping it. Chris Stanley's going to be scoping it. But then I've heard from people that you can't even get cell fucking coverage.
Oh, no.
Because you're downstairs in the... I mean, you're beneath... you're under the United States of America when you're in the Hard Rock.
All I wanted to do was crack a scope tonight.
He loves to crack that scope.
I needs to
Crack that scope. Listen to the dope. I don't know. I heard from people that Earl said, I can't even get a call there. So unless there's a special thing,
I'm going to have to try to find some Wi-Fi. I don't know what the
you
hell's
could
going
go
on.
to Johnny and say, do you have special Wi-Fi? But people are telling me to a person because I wanted to scope some of the show. I thought it would be fun
Hell yeah.
to scope out there. And
live.
Yeah, but and we also have some comedic comics stopping by, and it should be fun. But now, because you've decided to do this in a rock quarry, we might not be able to scope. Look, let me tell you something. I'm going to talk to Fred Flintstone. If we can get up on his dinosaur's head, then we could scope a little bit.
You might get a signal.
I'm getting scope blocked over here.
I'm Rock Quarry. What do you need? Wi-Fi? Oh, man, I wish older people were here. They'd all be laughing. Somebody get a hold of Anthony. He does a great Rock Quarry. Dixie, thought I'd let you know. Wait, who are you calling Dixie now? Because her fucking name has been Baby Blue all this time.
You know old Dixie Baby Blue.
And then, again, this is going to be out of your thing, but I would sing along to that song, but sing Vida Blue, who was a great pitcher for the Chicago Cubs. Oh, Vida Blue. Well, it's one of those days today that we've got some special guests. Seth Rogen, who we've talked to many, many times, including in Unmasked. Delightful young man that nothing affects. Dan reminds me of Seth Rogen.
Nothing can ever stop Seth Rogen. He's a success
humble.
robot.
He's a regular. That's the
Yeah.
weird thing about him. He's a regular guy. He doesn't seem to have taken the money and fame and let it change him at all. It's bizarre.
Right.
It's bizarre. And I remember like years ago I had him on this show and I'm like, and he was a young kid. You know, and he was like, yeah, we're having fun. And I'm like, well, this will fuck with his head. All these years later, I haven't seen anything. I mean, he had North Korea pissed at him.
Yeah.
And it didn't seem to change.
Rolled right
his-
off him.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't seem. And you're never like, oh, there's a picture of Seth Rogen in his Lamborghini. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or he got caught with 2 model girlfriends. This is nothing.
Nope.
Any of the stuff that I would use fame and fortune for seems like he doesn't care about.
He's a regular dude.
He just hangs with his bros, with his goddamn Hollywood bros, and they just make movies together. And that's all they do. It seems like they just work.
Oh my God. When you get into explaining is when you're stuck in a whirlpool of obvious.
That's what they call me.
And it's
Whirlpool
like,
obvious.
him and his Hollywood dudes, they make Hollywood movies, you know? They blow it up that way.
Seems they
You're like,
work on
why
it.
does he do that? Like, don't get cameras, and they'll point the cameras at each other, and, you know, talk, and then they're recording on those cameras. Well, then they get an editor, put all those scenes together,
Really?
and they release it as a major motion picture.
Wow.
I didn't realize.
Before that, Seth writes a script.
By the way, the movie comes out this Friday, and I took my weekend child, Joey Jojo, to that.
Yeah.
You were so entranced. You loved it so much.
Yeah, I was over the moon about it.
He was over the moon.
I heard that you were just downright giddy just being there.
Yeah, just the atmosphere, but then, you know, the story. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but Seth, before it even went to the theater, he wrote it, right? And then later, him and his buddies got a camera and they shot the whole thing.
He's razzing you, dude.
It's coming off like a dick.
He's razzing you. He got you.
They call him Chris Explains now.
Chris explains it
But
all.
do you think that the R-rated Christmas comedy is going to have an audience? Because normally when you make a Christmas movie, it's for children.
I like an R-rated Christmas comedy. Bad Santa, one of my favorite Christmas movies
Good
ever.
call on that. And I remember when I kind of lived the R-rated Christmas comedy lifestyle for myself in my own life. Up until you start going, oh, okay, I have a family. But before that, I remember Christmas being a time of a lot of hard liquor. You know what I mean? Like,
Rowdy.
you go to people's houses, they have hard liquor because people have given it to them, and people have given you hard liquor. And everyone, the weirdest thing is, you all have a week off, right?
Uh-huh.
And you got nowhere to go. It's not like a vacation. Oh, we're traveling. You know, you're walking around, you're drunk all day in the middle of the day, then you get drunk at night. But I remember I must have been in high school, and me and my buddies, we went out, and the night before, tripped and used whiskey as a type of landing gear.
Okay.
And I don't know whether have you ever had whiskey around when you trip?
Yeah, I have.
You can drink it like it's soda pop, right? You could just sit
nothing.
there. You tilt the bottle back and you see bubbles like boom, 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 because you could just hammer this whiskey down. So we got to laughing so hard that we were leaning into each other, and then we started to headbutt each other with our laughter and throw in some bows, and everybody had a great time. I wake up the next morning. I got fucking bumps around my eyes, just scratches down, and none of this was from being in a fight. It was from having
Happiness.
fun, being so young and I guess rammy. You know what I mean? Like when you see baby rams just smashing their heads together. And my parents are looking at me like, what the fuck, dude?
It's Christmas.
We're coming to do pictures later. And I'm like, oh, hey, Mom, it's Wardy and Spinning, you know. We were just having fun. I don't know why. It just fucking felt like I'd even talk to those human beings. We were just having fun, man. It's great. You know, and it was Christmas morning, and I had like 13 or 14 minutes sleep, you know, before I got home to, hey, everybody, we're going down to look at the tree. Just looking like shit.
Oh, God.
And if you look around, I'm sure my mom always, like, literally in a time before, computers and shit, like they would save pictures.
Yes.
I'm sure those pictures exist.
Of you looking all
just scratched and banged up and trying to understand. You know what I mean? We were just having some fun, amazing. Tripping balls, drinking whiskey. I don't know why, but I would like to do experiments on why you can drink so much whiskey so easily while you're tripping. It's never like you feel drunk either.
No. You feel totally. You have the tripping feeling, but the drunk feeling never comes into your fucking brain.
That's my theory as well. And I think you fall down or start punching your friend. So that's why I think this movie is going to do good.
Because of the R-rated Christmas. Because there's adult Christmases out there that need R-rated Christmas movies.
There's an adult time that is like, I don't want to be with my parents. I'm not a child. But at the same time, you also don't want to, you don't have your own children or whatever. Let's face it, you haven't fucking totally grown up.
Right.
The guys in this movie, they're not totally grown up. They're babies.
But it's got to be a short list of R-rated Christmas movies, right? There can't be too many of them. Like Die Hard, I guess, would be like an R-rated Christmas movie.
How Christmassy is that?
It happens during Christmas.
By the way,
The Ref.
The Ref.
The Ref is a good one. Yeah, The Ref's a good call. And for me, I mean, it's not like cursing or anything, but We're No Angels, the original.
Yeah.
We're No Angels. I mean, they're fucking killers in that. Isn't there like some kind of horror movie too, where like Santa Claus?
Santa's sleigh. And it's like sleigh, as in like I'm gonna slay.
Like
Isn't there a Santa Claus?
Like claws people?
Yeah,
I
like
like
he has
that.
like sharp claws. I feel like he does.
Oh yeah, Santa Claus. That is it. Jack Frost is another horror Santa movie.
Did you say whore?
I said a horror Santa movie.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
A horror Santa movie, huh?
I mean, the thing is, if you're like a single dude, I do think Christmas Eve, if you're not getting hammered, could feel a little lonely to you.
Right.
Christmas Day has no loneliness for you whatsoever, though.
No, it's over.
Like the Christmas spirit and all that, it's all about Christmas Eve.
Yeah, Christmas Day is shitty. It's like I'm done with Christmas
Yeah,
Day.
it's kind of like sleepy. It's like fun for like when you're a kid. Obviously, the morning is fun.
Yeah.
But if you don't have little kids around,
Right.
you're just like, well, why is this tree still up? You're just like, this is silly.
I like the idea of trying to have the tiniest tree that you possibly can in your life. But I remember being a little kid and like going to my grandparents' house and they would have a little tiny tree because they didn't want to mess. And I'd feel so sorry for them. I'm like, they're missing the magic of having a child like myself here.
A world without children.
Yeah. And little did I know they were happy as could possibly be. They couldn't feel better about it. It's almost like they had, as they said, beat the clock. So I'm going to start, I'd like to say scale of 1 to 4. What would you give this movie?
I would give it 3.5, 4 stars. 4 stars.
He's the worst. By the way, Seth Rogen here later on today.
4 stars.
Also Oliver Platt later today.
Nice.
awesome.
And we give you this show today, knowing that we've got a big gig tonight.
I know.
Stanley's first, being in his position. Joey's first. Gail's first.
My first.
Dan's first.
I'm popping on cherries tonight.
And you're first with us.
If I come.
What?
You should come,
Aw.
seriously.
Ew, Chris.
No, like, arrive.
Chris is having a fight with a listener who he had promised something and took something back from it. And quite frankly, it's turned ugly, Chris.
Yeah, it's gotten ugly, but I think Thanksgiving will bring everyone together in a happy, peaceful way.
This is the first thing that made Jenny Hutt and her producer look right.
No. They're always wrong.
I don't know why you can't explain yourself to me. Is there a reason?
I feel like I do, but I don't. Then I end up not being able to.
Did you heard when you tried to explain it to me, right?
Yeah, I think it seemed like different maybe than the actual.
Way different. He acted like Chris himself was in the wrong because he didn't want to explain to me what was going on.
Yeah.
But I noticed this too, and this happened in the meeting with Don. You act like you know nothing when you're around your bosses. And I know that you do a lot of work, but you do a really bad job of explaining yourself.
I don't know what my problem is. Because like I said, I feel like I do explain myself well, but then it turns out that I'm acting crazy or talking angry or snapping.
You were crazy in that meeting. Dan, with his potato chip
It's crunchy.
and his bags, was crazy. Only Joe came off as a guy, a guy who's in a meeting.
He did come off great.
I was in the middle of explaining something, and I looked over, and only Joe was looking at me tentatively with his pen to paper, ready to take
I like
a
that
note.
when you do that.
If anything seemed to be important, to jot it down.
I write everything down.
I mean, Chris, you claim that you've got the good boy magic, but is there a better boy than Joe? I don't think there is.
I'm a good boy.
Now, do you think...
And I have good boy points.
Now, do you think Chris's insanity was the worst? Dan's potato chipping? Or the fact that Joe was taking notes the whole time?
Which was the worst part?
Yeah, no, what was the best thing to do?
I would say that Joe would be the gallant of this story.
Thanks.
And that Chris and Dan, you're splitting the goofus.
I will give this, though. Dan's thing was downright comedic. It was so fucking funny. It was so George Costanza. I felt he was George Costanza and that.
Yeah, but you guys didn't see the notes I was taking down. It was actually a cat.
Come on, man. Come on, schedule.
And
boy.
actual notes, too, which are right here.
I see them. You couldn't fool me.
I know.
It was literally classic George Costanza. So much that I actually enjoyed it.
Danza.
Now, where's Dan now?
He's in the bathroom.
Smart.
Ew.
Probably shitting on his chips.
Ew, crunchy.
We do not have a lot of time for this gig tonight.
I
You know what I mean?
know.
It's coming soon.
It's coming real quick.
So we got under 7 hours, bros.
And I don't even know if Chris is going to make it with his sickness.
I'm positive I can force myself through it.
You couldn't force yourself into that meeting today with Don.
Good point.
Have you ever, that I've been at, had a good meeting with any of the bosses?
No, I have not. I could guarantee that.
Is it phobic for you? Are you going through a phobic thing?
I don't think so.
Are you intimidated by Don? Wiki Wicklin?
I feel like I can't gauge my emotions for like what other people.
But
think.
I've been like when just us guys meet, you can seem like a person. You know what I mean? But why are you laughing at this? This is literally a problem for you, not for me, because I look super intelligent because I can relate to another person. So
You're coming off great in
Yeah.
those meetings.
no, they're the easiest meetings I could ever be in. But I think here's what I think. I think Chris is somewhat anti-authority.
Is that what it is? You see him
Someone
as
don't
the
like authority.
police.
I don't like it at all. I'm not a fan of the Ponine either.
Oh no, again.
No, he hates. How about teachers? How do you feel about them?
Oh God,
Mentors.
mentors? No, I'm not a fan.
Let me write this down.
He's so good. He's so good.
How about the IRS? Are you crazy about the
Oh
IRS?
God, no.
He's anti-authority.
That's what it is. You see Don as authority.
I also saw him having trouble with border guards.
Oh, if the fucking border guards making me fucking take my belt off and then busting my balls for my pants falling down.
I remember when we were coming back across the border that you had trouble with them. And then me and the border guard were like laughing about comedy. So he's asking me about comedy, and I'm telling him, and he's laughing away. He's thrilled that we were at the Montreal Comedy Festival.
Right.
So we're going back and forth, and we're laughing, and I look over at Chris, and Chris is looking at me appalled. Like, he doesn't know how this could be happening.
I remember standing there. I was about, what, 7 feet from you or something?
Yeah.
Like, right past the fucking border guard. I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, how long is this conversation? What the hell's happening over there?
And why were you mad at him?
Because he kept asking me, like, where I lived or for whatever reason. And, like, what my business was in Canada. I'm like, business, literal business is why I was in Canada. Not for fucking partying, sir.
This is the question.
literally
Ask everybody.
But that's his business, Chris.
Business or pleasure is all they ever want to know.
Why they want to know?
Yeah.
Why can't it be
And
both?
then they go, you're not bringing anything back, and then you say no.
Yeah.
And then you leave.
Yeah, I don't know. These guys, they seem like they see me coming, you know, and they want to fucking harass me.
No, it's not true. You turn into. This isn't some magic that takes place.
It's good
some
boy
evil magic. You fucking are. You don't like to be around anybody of authority, and that way that you acted in that meeting again was just pure insanity, and you never explained yourself.
I got something I got to work on. Maybe not being so anti-authority.
And
Accepting.
then also finding out some of the people that we have on phones that aren't being trained properly. We got to make some fucking moves here. After we get past this show tonight, we're going to start looking big picture again.
Yes, we're gonna focus on some stuff.
Don wants to send us on trips and blah, 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 all kinds of different things. And we can't go out there being quite so, as he put it, Stanley Psychos.
Oh, that's how we.
Is Dan back from the shitter yet?
I'm worried about
he's
him.
probably got a
Ew.
chip stuck in his collar.
Good, I'm glad. After what he put us through yesterday.
So we have Seth Rogen on the show today. Do you remember what movie he was promoting?
I was at that Unmasked. I'm trying to remember what it was.
Was it the
I believe it was Knocked Up.
no?
No, I don't
He
think
wouldn't
so.
That
even
was
be
his
able to
first
made
one.
it before Knocked Up. There would be no reason we'd have him.
Yeah, it was definitely post Knocked Up for sure.
Yeah.
Pineapple Express.
Maybe, possibly.
But here's the interesting thing. I did not see this movie before he came in. He might have been promoting Pineapple Express, but they didn't show it to me first. Because I know I didn't see that movie in the theater.
Yeah, I think it was Pineapple Express. I think that was the movie.
I think it's one of the best comedies of all time.
It's crazy
pretty
funny.
damn funny. I really enjoyed it.
All right, let's go over Seth Rogen's career. I've said before, I think one of the most underrated films is that fucking Green Hornet movie he did. That thing is funny as shit.
Yeah.
You got the Knocked Up and you got the Superbad, and they're both, gigantic hits.
Yeah.
So that's 4 movies already that we're giving him credit as being great ones. I would have said that my favorite movie of the year that it came out was that End of the World movie.
This is the End is hysterical, and I watch it whenever I can. Whenever
So
it's on
that's
TV.
5 movies that we're giving him big props for.
Huge.
Did you see Observe and Report?
Love it.
That movie is.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to expect when I watched it. I was like, wow, this movie's surprisingly great.
So now we're at 6 movies of his. Now, when you start to think about it, there's a lot of big stars you can't give 6 movies to.
Right.
I would even say that the one that got pulled for it being about North Korea was super clever,
never saw
very
it.
funny.
7. I laughed my
Loved it.
ass off at that movie.
Loved the interview.
He also has a really great part in 40-Year-Old Virgin. He's not the main character, but he's got to be like the funniest character in it.
8. That's fucking massive. Now, I never watched the Panda thing, but I know people like it. Who's he bringing in with him?
Joseph Gordon.
Oh,
Oh,
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
It's never.
dude.
It's not going to work out.
And Anthony Mackie.
Right, those are two big stars, and you're not even acting like it's a big deal. You're just fucking coughing and shit.
I didn't mean to cough. It just came out of me.
Oh.
Yeah, everywhere.
Disgusting, Chris. And I'm worried about this show tonight if you're going to be that sick.
Let's not bring you in.
Yeah,
No.
definitely do not be anywhere near
Do not ruin this.
our guests.
For once, don't ruin something, Chris.
I will not be anywhere near them.
Are we missing any of his serious work? I didn't go see the Steve Jobs yet.
Well, I really, this one's a darker comedy with Adam Sandler, but funny people. I like that one.
Half. And I will say this, Rogan's half is my favorite. It's right up. I could have fixed funny people by letting Adam Sandler die.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been amazing.
You definitely would have.
Kept going with the disease angle,
Right.
you know? Not the regret angle. Believe me, I live with regrets. I understand.
He also played bully number 2 in Donnie Darko, and that's when I first saw him as an 8-year-old
too.
boy.
Matter of fact, I got bad intel from was ever our guys who said that he was the producer of Donnie Darko.
Just like a teenager he looked like. How could he have been a producer?
Oh my God, you're busting my balls here? Jesus Christ.
What the fuck?
Somebody hands you something right before you go in and it sticks in your fucking head. I don't know who's producing what. It's fucking haunted me for all these years. Can I bring up, so you were a producer on that? And he's like, what? Huh? How can I be a producer? I was like a teenager. I'm not even kidding you. It's bothered me ever since. And I never trust the fucking shit that people try to hand. If I can't prep it, I don't fucking deal with it.
Right.
No. Man, did you see how fast Chris came on my side against you?
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't even realize that pissed me off a little bit that he did that. How
Well,
you
you
feeling,
guys are
Chris?
on the same team.
Yeah.
Feeling great.
Oh man.
Oh, Chris.
Dude, this is so fucked up.
Vitamin
I'm
C.
starting to feel like a little.
I know. I'm
temperature.
getting it too.
No, don't say.
Me too. My throat's a little scratchy.
I'm having like I'm like warm, and you know I'm never warm.
I need
Right.
some Dayquil.
Did you think we were gonna jump
Yeah, I was
in?
hoping that would work, but
Then you should have made eye contact with us.
I know.
That's
Because
how
I
you
would have
do it.
done it this way. Dayquil.
Oh,
Fighter of the night quill. Oh, master of the sun.
Okay.
And karate for everyone. That's a lot of movies for Seth Rogen. I mean, I'm sure if I was him, I'd like, hey, why did you leave out that movie with me and Levitt having cancer? Didn't say it.
He also had the very funny, I thought it was very funny with Craig Robinson, Zack and Miri Make a Porno, which was a little bit smaller.
I like that movie a lot, directed by Kevin Smith. That
Elizabeth
movie,
Banks.
yeah, Elizabeth Banks. It's funny. It's weird. And you know what? This is true. I know we're kind of doing Don Vito Remembrance Week.
yeah.
When I was at in Florida with the Ron and Ron show, we'd put out a couple successful tapes. Don Vito, and this is before he was and all that, approached us about making a porno starring him. And we were on the floor laughing. And because he had shot some amateur stuff with him and Horse of different things. And just the thought of it, we were like laughing. And he goes, we could, put out, he goes, we could use mine. And we're sitting there and we're like, because we didn't have any new idea. You know what I mean? We're like, I don't want to, we worked so hard on the other one. It's crazy. Takes a whole year to shoot. And we're like, fuck, it's really a funny idea. And we kept kicking it around. And everyone was saying, well, I definitely think we should, but I don't want to direct it. And then when we got into this thing, this guy was like, you're going to destroy anything that you have with the advertisers.
Right.
Speaking of which, you want to hear something embarrassing from E-Rock?
Okay.
As a producer to producer.
Okay.
He's like, God, I always think it's so funny that you guys do the Blue Apron and then run the ad with you guys doing it in the same break. He goes, we could never do that on our show.
Oh, boy.
I don't remember that happening, and I doubt it happens all the time.
How about let's put money down now if it happened yesterday.
Okay.
You want to bet on it?
I'll bet $1.
Seriously, what do you want to bet?
I got $20.
What do you really want to bet? Christmas
100.
bonus?
I can't bet that. I'm sure it happened then. No money down.
The panic in his head.
I'm a fuck up. I probably did it. I just don't remember.
That's
Because I'm
how
a
far
fucking
you got-
asshole.
That's how far you got to go before someone will tell the truth. How's Dan doing with his chip shit?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to fucking go out and see what the fuck happened to
Just
him.
let him
Into
know.
the
It's
bathroom?
okay. I think he probably went home.
He wants to take a nap before the
He'll
big
be-
gig tonight.
He'll be
Now, by
back.
the way, you as the executive producer were the only one that didn't realize that Dan was fucking a bag of chips.
I
Where
mean,
everyone else in the room picked up on it.
the look of I thought I was crazy at first because I was like, am I being overly sensitive and picky? And then I look and see your face and Dot's face, and I was like, thank God.
Coke. This is walk my way to me. Coke. Anybody Coke? All right, let's take a break here so Chris doesn't double up on his commercials. We're going to shoot some penicillin into his neck.
Oh.
Look how thick his hair is today, though.
Looks
Gorgeous.
Looks great.
I think the sickness helps the follicles.
It's like a rockabilly's hair.
What
You know
do
what I mean?
What product do you use?
Head
You-
and shoulders.
Do you?
What is this, 1969? I
What,
didn't even
straight
know
head
that
and shoulders?
existed anymore. What do you do? Crisco? Is that what you...
They sell at the dollar store.
But you look today as if Elvis's twin
Cool. Thank you.
would have lived.
Oh.
What is it? Aaron... I'm going to say Aaron Rodgers Presley, but
I think that's right.
it's Aaron something Presley.
That's you.
But Aaron
Me?
Rodgers Presley would be fucking hilarious. But he was stillborn. And there was like one movie where Elvis never stopped talking to him. And the day you died was the worst day of my life. He kind of Fight Club it, like where he had an imaginary twin helping him. All right, let's break here. What next break do we got? The boys coming in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as we come back from this,
Yes.
we'll be right back. Bennington. The Night Before, coming out this Friday, November 20th. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Seth Rogen, Anthony Mackie, all in studio. How you doing, guys?
Good. How are
Well,
you?
thanks.
It's a big R-rated Christmas comedy
It is.
because dudes kind of have R-rated Christmases in between being a child and then finally
And
settling
then having
down with-
kids.
Yeah. It's that one era. And I always like this premise, too, of, I think before you get married, the first commitment in your life is to your guys,
It's true.
to your boys.
And I think as you get older, that's the first relationship that changes a lot.
Right.
Is the one with your friends. I'm sure as you start having kids and stuff like that. I don't have that. I've just noticed a lot of my friends don't hang out with me as much as they
Yeah.
used to. And I hope it's because we're getting older and not just because they don't like me anymore.
We're hanging out right now, so
Exactly. Now we have to do movies
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
Literally.
See, that's the
just to hang
thing. I
out.
think guys need a project
Yes.
for it to make sense. You got to either be going fishing,
Yeah.
building a house.
A tradition.
Right. Or you just get fucking wasted
Yes.
and try to beat the last 100 times you did
that's a
it.
project.
Yeah.
That is a project.
Well-
but yeah, guys don't have lunch.
Right.
My wife's always having lunch with people, and
Yeah.
I couldn't if I had a lunch with. I just want to eat as fast as humanly possible. So I would never want to go to lunch with someone because it's
Right.
embarrassing. Usually, I just want to shovel the food in my mouth and go do something else. So yeah, I think guys do need more of a thing, and as you get older, you stop doing that shit.
Well, you have to, because you can't kind of move on in the archetypes if you're holding on to the archetype before. You have to go from warrior to medicine man to wise man. But if you keep hanging out with those guys, remember what you really had in common was partying hard, getting in fights, doing pranks, getting in trouble. It's tough to grow up. It's tough to have kids around that.
That's our version of warrior, those of us that grew up really privileged.
Yes, exactly. That is it. That's, in a lot of ways, that's our Vietnam, isn't it? Just the awful things that we've done to ourselves over the years. Because, Seth, this is like I think the last year of your life that you can throw up in a church and it's funny, After that.
I'm very aware of that. I'm uber aware of it. Yeah. It's getting sad.
Right.
And then we're starting to make jokes about the fact that it's getting sad, and that's becoming the joke, is that we are too old to keep doing this stuff. But in all seriousness, we are too old to keep doing this stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why we're getting it while we can, because we know that we're gonna have to come up with a new joke soon.
Because at a certain age, when a guy throws up, then his friends are like, you know what, we're gonna put him in rehab.
Yeah. I know. There's a point where
at
it's
a
sad.
certain age, when you throw up, your friends are like, "We need to take you to the doctor."
Right. Yeah.
Somebody need to put their finger up your ass.
Yeah.
Something's not right.
Or you need an IV. Like it used to be when I was hungover, I could just drink water. Now I need like an intravenous hydration technique.
The first bad hangover is the first of many. You know what I mean? Like for many years, I think it's like a sports injury.
I don't
Once
even
you
drink
get it.
because of it now, really, because that's how I my body can't sustain it.
Yeah.
I get hungover too easily. It's sad.
Well, you give up 2 days for that one good night.
I know, but that's all I'm thinking when I'm drinking is like, I have so much shit to do the next 2 days. It's going to suck.
Yeah.
And so I don't do it.
But there's also that scene, and many New Yorkers know this, and people, I guess, all around the country, of that great mystical party that everybody's kind of looking for to make it the party of a lifetime. And that's kind of the quest of these guys as well.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of the plot, the MacGuffin, if you will, I guess they call it in movie. Yeah, it's kind of like what we're doing throughout the movie, and through this pursuit, all of our emotional shit comes up, basically. But yeah, we're trying to find this party that we've been looking for the last decade, essentially. And we find it.
I'm not even sure if the great party can even be planned. Like sometimes it just springs up.
No, it's true. I think the best parties I've been to have been. No, I've been to some fun planned parties. Right?
I've been to some, but pretty invariably, the very best parties are the ones where it's like under a dozen people in some house that's not even necessarily a particularly nice house. Yeah. And it's just for whatever reason that night, that group, that music, and whatever, everyone's just losing their mind and having a great time. Yeah. Those are really the
Party
best
out
parties.
of nowhere.
Yeah. Those are definitely better than all the big Hollywood parties that are on Entertainment Tonight or whatever.
Those parties
are pretty
suck.
invariably bad. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, those are kind of stressful because they're really work parties. They're no different than your dad going to a work engagement years ago.
Well, they're an illusion, really. They're meant to be on Entertainment Tonight more than they're meant to be enjoyed by the people that are actually at the party.
But the problem is I actually I'll drink too much at those parties and forget that it's a work party. And everyone's like, why is this asshole drunk? This is an illusion. This is not a real party. And I'm just like bothering.
Is this whiskey an illusion?
I'm just bothering Steven Spielberg.
But the same thing is true of a concert. Like, you could go to a million concerts, but you don't know which one is going to be that magical
the actual
moment. Good one. Yeah, where everybody in the whole place just goes, Jesus, this is unbelievable.
No, it's true. And it is. Yeah, like the concerts I've been super psyched for are not often you're like, yeah, they did all the stuff I hoped. And then it's the one that someone drags you to where you're like, holy shit.
And you're soaked in sweat because you danced so hard.
Yeah.
And, you weren't expecting to.
No, that's totally true. What's the best concert you've been to recently?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Let's see. I went to this band called Tune Yards.
Love them.
Do you love Tune Yards?
I do.
Awesome.
We always think
so skeptical.
We think you're a compulsive liar. I've only slowly, I never had the moment where I thought, Mackey's a liar. But what I've noticed is every time you say something, my instinct is to not believe it. And so I guess that means I think you're a liar.
I'm a liar.
And I'm just realizing it right now. But anytime you say something, I think, this guy's fucking lying right now.
I'm just hoping I'm hoping that the bass player from Tune Yards is driving along listening right now.
It's happening.
This is everything we've worked for.
It's my moment.
He has
hilarious.
that Wonders moment from that Tom Hanks movie.
Exactly. That thing you do.
So this is the same thing true of a movie set too, where you're kind of looking for that moment, and it may come or it may not.
I think on movies there are scenes. What I've found is there's some scenes that you kind of disregard as being something that is just going to be like connective tissue or like something that is just propelling the story forward. And sometimes those scenes turned out to be like the funniest scenes in the movie just because of some weird thing that happens or comes up as you're shooting it. And that's something that I think is very interesting. And it's good because it makes you always kind of have to be on your game because you never know what scene might end up being the one. Like, yeah, there's so many scenes where, like, going into it, I'm like, this is stupid. This probably won't even be in the movie. It's not necessary. And then by the end of it, you're like, oh, no, this could be the funniest scene in the entire movie.
Right. Well, those are your movies, too, because there's so much spontaneity and kind of improvisation on the movies that you guys produce, which is what makes it so fun to act in them.
It is. It's fun.
Because that's not the case in a lot of movies.
No, I'm sure on most movies, if the scene sucks going into it, it sucks coming out of it.
Yes. It's right there on the page.
Yeah.
But sometimes I guess you could just be caught up on the high of the whole thing and feeling like it's working.
Very, very much so. And more often that happens, I would say, where as you're shooting it, you're like, we are fucking shitting gold bricks right now. And then you get in the editing room and watch it, and you're like, what the fuck are we thinking? This is horrible. It has nothing to do with anything and is really just like a bunch of assholes laughing at themselves. That happens a lot as well.
That's well, I can tell you, I saw this, the night before with a full audience, and it was really popping.
That's awesome.
And there was a place, and I don't know whether you're saying who the pop star is. I don't know whether you're
Miley Cyrus. We can say that. Yeah.
Well, when that starts to kick in, the audience started to react as if we were at a show.
I know, it's kind of amazing. They forgot she wasn't there.
Yeah. But I don't know, I don't want to give it away of how it leans up before it hits the post, before it really, that famous song kicks in. And I ended up laughing at the audience being excited with it.
Yeah, it's it's nice sometimes, like, when you can just really give, like, it's a Christmas movie, and so we talked a lot about, like, overloading it with things that would make the audience happy, especially as it ramped up towards the end. And we were just like, let's just think of everything that maybe an audience would want to see right now and shove it into the end of the movie, which was a nice way to end the movie.
Well, it's really about these guys trying to keep their own tradition going, which is really what Christmas is do we have the same things we had last year and the year before that?
Well, it's what Joe was talking about. It's it really is a good barometer of, it's when you realize how much has changed in the last year.
You come back around to the rituals.
Yeah. It's when you see everyone again that you're like, in the same context at the same house at dinner, you're like, oh, you're older and have a baby now.
Right.
Like, and you don't like me anymore. And, it is it's like those benchmark moments.
And we have so few rituals these days. At one point,
there's none.
All society was about rituals.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
There's kind of just Christmas.
Well, it's Christmas.
And Monday
Halloween,
Night Football.
Monday Night Football, the Super Bowl.
Very good, Joe.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl is one of those things that you never want to be at a bad Super Bowl party. You literally say, this woman is ruining my Super Bowl. Right. She's asking stupid questions.
That's me. They don't even let me in the room where the game is happening anymore. I just watch the Buffalo Wings.
You're zero sports fuel.
Zero sports. Zero sports.
He's Canadian, so
But I don't even like hockey. We did shoot a thing with Wayne Gretzky to promote the movie, and him I was excited about.
Right.
Like if you were were on Pro Stars, then I'm excited about you. Which means Bo Jackson, Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, and was Larry Bird one of the Pro Stars? I can't even remember. But those 3 or 4, those are the only ones I'd genuinely be excited about.
It's weird how it was all 90s guys. Like those 90s guys.
They were crushing it.
Yeah,
they were great.
And Michael Jordan still sells more sneakers than anybody today.
Are they still the highest paid athlete?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah, Wayne Gretzky makes wine. That guy's so good at hockey, he makes other shit that has nothing to do with hockey.
Yeah.
That's how much people like him.
Right.
He sells suits and wine. It has nothing to do with hockey.
But Jalen Rose was there, and he's like, Jalen Rose. Yeah. Clay Matthews was there. He's like, who's that? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's Clay Matthews.
I was like the guy from Pitch Perfect 2's here. That was exciting for me.
But as long as they move into that iconic thing that you can,
I know. So I met like Joe Namath once. Like that was exciting for me.
Amazing.
Like things like that I can appreciate. But
he's stuck in 1992.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I don't watch sports. I don't ever watch
shameful.
sports. And a lot of my friends, obviously are interested in sports, and I just kind of tune out. I think that's why I started doing comedy, honestly, was because I didn't like sports and I needed another thing to do.
Yeah. And oddly, now comedy is almost like a sport. I mean, it's really
it's competitive.
It's a competitive.
Comedy is like the sport version of acting.
It kind of is. Yeah. It's the most active
and quantifiable. You can win or lose based on whether they laughed or they didn't laugh.
It's very quantifiable.
Thank you.
It's true. I mean, if you sit in a drama, you don't know if the audience, you don't know if it's winning or losing at all,
You can tell, but not. It's much more nuanced.
It's much more obvious if a comedy is winning.
Yes,
or losing.
much more.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you go to a play, I think with a drama, you can kind of catch it about 15 minutes in.
Yeah.
Whether the audience is going to stay.
A play, it's like a very physical thing. Like you literally see. It's like, I think you literally see them moving a little bit.
Yeah, in a drama, you want to not hear them.
Yeah, you want to. Yeah, exactly. In a comedy, you want to hear them. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
I always think it's amazing too. Well, because stand-up gets done live, a play is live. It's a much different situation.
Yeah.
But in a play, you could feel physical danger when you're in the audience. If you've got the right play, and like you go to a David Mamet play and these guys are really into it, it feels physical for the audience.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like plays.
That's why.
Plays stress me out. Honestly. Yeah. I get stressed out. Like to me, like it is like it's not a relaxing entertainment experience going to a play all the time. It's like a stressful, arduous experience.
Oh yeah, especially at the very beginning, because when you haven't bought into it, you know, you're like, the fuck is this?
No,
why are they talking loud?
I know. Yeah, there's always that. Yeah, there's always that moment you're like, oh, this is so weird.
Can they see me? I hope not.
What kind of play is it? Oh, it's that kind of play.
Right.
Yeah. It's weird. Yeah.
But that is the beauty, I guess, of anything in entertainment. Is every time that you walk out there, you might get people to come into the building because they liked what you did before, but it doesn't mean shit once that starts. You still have to deliver.
Yeah, and that's what's hard about comedy movies also, is because it's like any comedian will tell you they could go into a club one night and do a set and kill, and they could go into the same club the next night and say the exact same jokes and eat shit, and but the advantage that a human has is they can on the fly make adjustments and read the crowd and think like, oh, they don't like this. They don't like the aggressive style. I'll pull it back a little bit.
Yeah.
They like a little slower pace. I'll do that, But with a movie, you can't adjust on the fly, obviously. And so you really have to try to show it. That's what we do anyway, is like the only way we reconcile that is we show it to an audience as many times as humanly possible and try to reconcile those discrepancies just as much as we can through screening it a lot, basically. But and as Joe said, and if it doesn't work, it's I mean, often you'll go into the movie being like, I think we figured it out. Like, what would we lose? And then as you're watching no one laugh, you're like, oh, it's way too long. Why the fuck is this in there? So,
and a Bruce Willis movie doesn't need to have the audience with them every second. You know, you could imagine that if you go to an action film, you're like, well, this is going a little slow right now, but I know Bruce is going to do something big later. But you don't feel that in a comedy. You know?
You feel the failure much more. Again, it's a much more tangible sense of failure. Which is really why we do it. To make that failure as real as humanly possible. Yeah.
Do you guys bring into a comedy different, because you all do both, but do you come with a different kind of criteria when you're doing a comedy than if you're doing a drama? Is it changed for you?
Well, I think it's more so for me not getting caught in the other person's shtick. You know, it's like when you go into it, you know, I have my thing, he has his thing. Right. And then you start seeing him doing his thing, and you can tell it's funny, and you're like, oh, well, why don't I try that? And that was my biggest burden, my biggest albatross, was trying not to act like Joe or Seth.
Right. Which is sometimes hard to do because friends start to act like each other, you know?
Exactly.
But that is true about this film, that you really are three different individuals in these films, and in a lot of films, of course, everybody starts to Woody Allen is the best example.
Yes, everyone takes on his
everybody's
affectation.
Woody Allen.
I guess you're right. Yeah.
You know,
it's true, and a lot of, I mean, like I just did an Aaron Sorkin movie, and there is a little bit of everyone kind of talks like Aaron Sorkin a little bit.
Mamet has the same thing where everybody is delivering it like the early Mamet guys.
Well, again, that's why we encourage people to kind of make the dialogue their own a little bit and improvise to some degree, because it helps organically separate the writing styles of everyone a little bit.
I think that's what went wrong with The Matrix.
I think it is.
Everybody was trying to do
Nothing
The Matrix
went wrong
1.
with The Matrix. The movie's fucking dope.
Part 1.
Yeah, part 1's good.
Thank you. Shut up.
Except for now the whole landline thing is just what?
I know. Kids are going to watch The Matrix and be like, what is that?
Right. Phone booth?
And that was the most important thing.
I know. It all revolved. It was a futuristic movie based on a phone booth. True. That is weird.
There's no way. Everyone's got a phone now.
Yeah, exactly. No one can reconcile
But that was actually one of those brilliant movies, and I think it's rare these days because the hype gets even bigger, but no one saw The Matrix coming.
No.
You know?
It's totally true. It probably is one of the last movies. Inception, which Joe is in, did something similar.
You
where
were great in that,
you were like,
Thank you.
where really the question is like, what's it about? And I remember that was the whole marketing thing for The Matrix, was what is The Matrix?
Right.
And that was that's a ballsy marketing campaign. When the whole concept of the movie is that we're not going to tell you what the fucking movie is. Like that takes a lot of guts to be like.
Basically, there's no way we can explain this to you.
Yeah, exactly. But then there is a scene where it's like on minute 33, you don't know what the Matrix is,
You
and
want
by
to
the
know
by the end of minute
what
38,
it is.
you know exactly what the Matrix is. It's Lawrence Fishburne explains the shit out of what the Matrix is. Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah,
in one speech, your whole brain just goes.
Yeah, you're like, it blows. We're in the Matrix,
and you walk around for the next 5 years like, how the fuck do I get in the Matrix?
No, that was one of the first times in my life. I was sitting in a movie, and I remember thinking, I smoked too much weed before. I was like, I literally can't process what's happening right now.
See, I would think that you had that experience a lot.
No, normally I can take it all in, but that one was too much for me.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the same experience you would have when you see The Night Before.
Exactly. Bring it back to the movie, Matthew. He's always bringing it back.
Yeah.
November 20th.
Like you said, when we started with this is a relatable movie, I think, for anybody that, had friends at 18 to 21, which is the most intense period of your life, and then you spend your life trying to figure out how much of that are you going to hold on to and how important is it.
Can you still be friends with those people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the same kind of intensity. Can you guarantee that you're good? I mean, there are people that still to this day, maybe you haven't even seen them in years, and you'd throw a body in the trunk for them.
Yeah.
If they called you, you're like, I'm there.
But then there's times where you're with someone that you've known since you were a kid, and you're like, this is awkward all of a sudden.
Right.
And
Exactly.
I don't know what to say to them all of a sudden. And like, we used to have so much to relate on, and now our lives are just so different, you know? Which is sad, which is super fucked up.
Well, where you can handle them in a group, but if the two of you are making a beer run together, you're like,
awkward silence.
How's your kid?
The night. How's your kid? You're looking good, man. You're really looking good.
Wait, is that what you're thinking when you ask me about my kid?
Hey, Joe. Hey, Sam.
I'm genuinely interested in you.
You seem genuinely interested.
No, I actually am, but no.
You're not thinking, when's Anthony coming back?
Yeah, exactly.
Get the dynamic going.
Hey, Mackie, come crack the joke.
We need all three.
The night before this Friday, it's very, very funny, and I think it's going to be one of those Christmas classics that people keep going back to. Good to see you guys.
You too. Thanks so much.
a lot, man.
See you next time coming through.
Appreciate it.
Poor Miley Cyrus, who plays what do you call that? It's not even just like, I guess she was there. She's a day player, maybe.
Yeah.
Right?
Cameo?
I think it's too long to be a cameo. To me, a cameo was like someone drives by in the car and they're a big star, you know? There's another star in the movie, a big star, that I might call a cameo, but I feel like she gets a couple of scenes, almost too much cameo.
Like a guest spot. But I don't know if you...
Yeah, it's like she's doing a guest spot, you know? And also Joey was going crazy during Miley Cyrus's thing.
Yeah.
You love
which I was
Miley?
surprised.
I was over the moon about it.
Let me tell you, Joe looks like if Miley Cyrus put on glasses. You know?
Thank you.
So true.
Your pussy, your choice, bro.
Dude, that comes across so aggressive.
I can't believe it. That you'd say something like that.
It's also misogynistic and anti-Chinese.
I thought it was positive for women. It's like you
don't think you came off anti-Asian the way you said that?
Oh, no.
Well, you were pulling your eyes back with your fingers.
Don't tell everyone that.
Why did you do it?
Yeah.
That's what I don't understand.
Chris has been calling our show the half-hour comedy hour because I don't know why. I guess because he's such a big fan of that show. But we just had some big stars here, and a little later on, Oliver Platt, who Chris said Oliver Plate is coming in. And
it's not spelled like plate.
Well, this is what when I correct him, he goes like this: Platt, plate. What's the difference? I go, it's the difference to the person's name. I can say it hurts sometimes as a Bangton. I know that hurts.
You know better than most.
His show was on last night. Did you see it? Chicago Med.
I didn't see it. How was it?
So good.
Nice.
Yeah. It's a Dick Wolf picture, or I guess series. Now, Dick Wolf is perhaps the biggest showrunner in television history.
I mean, he's responsible for Law and Order, and there's been like 7 of them.
There's been 7 of them.
And they ran for 20 years. It's like each.
And bung bung. Well, okay. But everything ends. Every episode ends with, it's a Dick Wolf. And the name, seriously, you're so wired that the term Dick Wolf makes you laugh. Mature.
I never claimed to be mature.
I'm going to draw a picture of a wolf and a dick and see and just leave it somewhere in the vicinity of where Oliver Plate is sitting. And then if he happens to see it and goes, what the fuck is that? I go like, oh, now you're reading into things that aren't there.
He's going to feel crazy.
This has been a Dick Wolf. Chris, remember when you used to yell something like, get at me, wolf?
Get at me, wolf.
What was that from?
That was Donnie Dumphy.
Who would you rather make out with, Donnie Darko or Donnie Dumphy?
Oh, man.
Yeah, 3 seconds.
Donnie Darko.
Points. That goes to show this is why guys with personalities get so mad. You know what I mean? That you can go in, that they'll always pick shallow looks.
Nightcrawler, give me some of that.
I know. But you got to admit, he's the dullest, you know.
Oh, I've seen him in interviews. He's fucking terrible. He's like a goddamn
Do you
cardboard
remember when
cutout.
Fez Whatley said that he gave him stink eye?
Yeah.
I don't believe that.
From inside a restaurant, he said he gave him stink eye.
He's saying Jake Gyllenhaal gave him stink eye?
Yeah, he said he was walking past the restaurant.
I can't believe that. Yeah. I saw Jake Gyllenhaal in the street once, and he was getting ready for one of his big, I don't know if he had a superhero or like a big action movie or something that he got really, really jacked for.
Oh, it might have been
a couple years
the
ago.
Marine one.
Jarhead?
Jarhead, yeah.
Yeah, maybe it was that.
I mean, he was ripped.
Yeah, he was
also,
he didn't look like himself. It was crazy.
He was also ripped for that boxer movie.
Southpaw.
Yeah, it
Lefty.
definitely, it would have been the previous one because it was a couple of years ago. And he was jogging on the west side, and I could tell it was him from like half a block away, and I was like, I cannot believe I'm about to see this right now. It was pretty great.
You were that excited.
Oh, yeah. He looked pretty damn good.
I saw his sister I later had on the show right after she had the baby, her and her husband, and her breasts were enormous, and they were walking through Central Park with the baby. She just had it.
Nice.
And I was like, hey, look at that girl with her giant breast. Oh,
Maggie.
She's famous. It's Maggie Gyllenhaal, who I adore.
Yes.
And then I love her husband.
Who is she married to?
Peter Sarsgaard.
Oh, that's right. I do.
He did our show. Speaking of giant breasts.
Yeah.
Just people with giant breasts walking by. And butts. And this will surprise you. They're going in the shade 45.
Weird.
Yeah.
How'd they even get there?
They were actually staggering from their own breasts and butts.
It's not easy. It's very top heavy.
Up on the iBang today, some big comedy stories out there. And you want to check those out. But I would say the story that got me, by the way, he's still in the bathroom.
Still in the bathroom.
That he's gone.
He's sick.
Costanza's gone.
Nobody.
Maybe he's taking a nap in the bathroom.
He naps where he shits. That's not a good idea.
Don't nap where you shit.
That's the saying, I think.
Yeah. My mom would tell me that. How many times are they going to tell you don't nap where you shit?
I'm tired.
It's better than shitting where I nap. I'll tell you that right now. But up on the iBag, there is the announcement about December 19th, SNL, the Christmas one, Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, and musical act Dr. Bruce Springsteen.
Whoa! That's going to be a great one.
Yeah.
That's going to be a blast.
I hope he does. Santa Claus is coming to town.
Please.
Santa Claus is coming to town.
Hey, Clarence, maybe Santa Claus will get you a big old saxophone.
I already got one, Bruce. Right here.
That was a saxophone sound?
Yeah, it was a...
Fucking song is so good. This is going to be the best Christmas episode all Tim.
I'm going to kill myself immediately after it because there's no problem.
Do you think they'll get the gang back together to do I Wish It Was Christmas Today?
No. Because I remember a couple years ago, Jimmy Fallon did that show. And did they get them back together for that or they didn't? No, they did get them back together that time.
A couple years ago?
Yeah.
I'd love to see them back together.
I love that song too. Let's see how my guys are running around to grab it for us.
They love it.
Yeah.
One of their favorite Christmas songs.
I am not going to let Christmas annoy me this year. I'm going to enjoy Christmas this year.
Why not? You can't be a Grinch every year or Scrooge.
Yeah, I'm not worried about being some list that people put me into. I'm more. I worry about it more from my point of view of just not enjoying a season. And you know what? It's from the commercialization. This isn't for, any of the belief stuff at all. I just hate the pressure everybody feels.
Yes.
When people are like, I can't stand it.
And the pressure to spend money and get it right and make it perfect.
Just to eat that many cookies starts to wear me down.
Sure.
The cookies are pretty good.
Oh my God, look what he's putting up. The SNL Christmas song.
You're losing your good boy points.
Yeah. Wait, did he have good boy points?
I have good boy points.
Yeah, not left.
No, you definitely
You don't even know
His
where Dan
was from
went.
the notes.
I need Dan back here to do that bit that we're going to do. I almost said to do that other break. I need him to do that list we're going to do of
underrated comedies.
But wait, I didn't say it.
Oh.
Chinese food places that deliver after midnight.
Oh my God, hold on. I look up a couple. I know. Number one, China Fun.
I got Golden Dragon. Panda China. And a place that's just called Ching Chong Fing Fong.
And then Szechuan Garden.
I'll tell you, ever since I started doing Blue Apron, I don't even bother ordering Chinese food anymore because I make so much better than them. It's not even close. I'm a better Chinese food maker than Chinese people.
And you don't have that feeling of like that greasy
disgust,
kind of
disgust and hating oneself.
Yeah, it always starts off good and then you feel like crap afterwards.
Yeah, I don't like the deep fried shit.
That's
deep
all I
fried
order
shit.
from that place.
God, bring it up. Bring up the volume for that. We love this.
3, 4.
Look how small Tracy is.
I don't care what your mama says. Christmas time is near. I don't care what your daddy says. Christmas time is dear. All I know is that Santa's sleigh is making its way to the USA. I don't care what the newsman says. Christmas is full of cheer. I don't care if you think it's a lie. Christmas will soon be here. I don't care about anything except hearing them sleigh bells ring a ding ding. I wish it was Christmas today. I wish it was Christmas today.
You got Dan back?
Dan is gone.
He has to be here for the end of the show.
He's coming back. He texted me. He said he had to go to Dwayne Reed. He had to get some Imodium because it won't stop coming out of him. So he's gonna get that and he'll be back.
It's not my business. In fact, when he comes back, let's not even discuss it with him.
No, I don't want
him. I don't want him to be uncomfortable.
Let's just act like it's a different day. Are you going? By the way, no one tells you when they leave here.
They told me.
So why didn't you ever answer me all that time?
Oh, because I got a lot of things confused about today's show. Is my fucking problem.
Like what? Explain to me. The fact that you told me that Dan was in the bathroom all that time.
Yeah.
But he was gone.
Yeah, he was gone. Yeah, he's coming back though.
I know, but why did you? Oh God, I'm getting sick now. I got the Stanleys.
Oh no! Please, please no. Everyone, take your emergency tonight. 2 tonight, 3 tomorrow morning, and 3 later today.
I'm gonna go get a flu shot. Yeah, who cares about tomorrow?
I don't know.
Yeah, we're worrying about today.
Well, we also have a big, radio show to do.
What's everybody saying?
Emergency. We should all be taking it all the time.
I don't believe in emergency.
That's a good dance you guys do.
I think it's hot in here, too, again.
Let me fix it.
It's hot as the devil's balls in that room.
Wait, the devil has hot balls?
Yeah, the devil has his fucking balls are scorching hot. I mean, they're hotter than the rest of his body.
So
Well,
that's why
everyone's
he
balls are hotter
created.
than the rest of their body. We actually have our gonads on the outside of our body to cool them down.
Right, so this way they won't be too overly toasty inside.
Because if you want to kill sperm,
Yeah,
right?
I do.
Put it on the heat.
Yeah.
You don't even have to worry about your sperm. Apparently, there's something wrong with his sperm.
My balls.
He and his girlfriend have never practiced any kind of protection.
Nope.
He doesn't even pull out, and they've been together all these years and never consummate it.
Stanley shoots blanks?
Yeah, I mean, I think all the drugs and
Dude, that's the name of the band. Stanley Shoots Blanks.
Perfect.
Yeah, and our fucking logo is just going to be naked Chris Stanley, his little fucking heart on and dust coming out of it. But then he's also
And it smells.
Yeah.
It smells it out.
It says Stanley Shoots Blanks in his dusty cum, but he's got two thumbs up,
you guys like this?
And I really want the penis, the hard on, to look as if the smallest hard on.
Come on.
in recorded history.
It makes you wonder why he's giving 2 thumbs up.
Well, I'm coming.
Because they're going to be much larger than his penis.
No.
Yeah. And I just want a Chinese guy pointing at his penis, and then that be, look how little that
I
is.
hate this band.
Yeah.
Like in the background, right?
Yeah, in the background, obviously. I don't want it in the foreground to confuse people.
Man, it's going to be such a good album cover.
Yeah. I heard on the Periscope, you know how we get people coming into the Periscopes? And so it's Chris's Scope Talk Live.
Mm-hmm.
Some guy from around the world comes in and he's acting like this. Hey, that guy in the back is really funny. I don't know what this show is, but that guy in the back is killing me.
That's so funny.
Listeners wrote to me about it. I was fucking cracking up. I can't imagine when you come on our scope and you're like, why is this room packed? Because in Periscope, most rooms have 8, 10 people. If there's a girl with giant breasts rubbing them, she'll get a couple hundred.
If.
Yeah.
Like,
That
usually,
peters off once people say, show them, take
Yeah.
them out. She's no, I'm not going to show them.
usually
Fuck
those
this amount.
rooms I've noticed get like 80, 90 people.
Right.
When I did my Periscope, there was people just in there just saying like, "What are you supposed to be famous?"
That was
or like,
very funny.
"Why is everyone in here?"
Yeah. That was fucking hilarious.
What did you do to make you famous?
I would like somebody when like they show up at Jenny Hudson, you see this. That long fucking weird desperate thing she gets before all the people come in.
Just waiting. The numbers
Guys, that asshole Chris Stanley and that asshole Ron Bennington.
Oh, I'm the asshole, huh? Sounds like Jenny Butt is the asshole. Her fucking name is Butt.
try to start this truce, and I just can't get it to take. It's like you can't handle the truce, Stanley.
Oh, I like that. You can't handle
There's
the
no
truth.
truce I want to handle with Jenny Hutt.
I just didn't want her screaming at me in the hall.
Unprofessional and crazy.
Another thing I don't like is when someone puts their paws on you when you're trying to get by. She gave me the big hand on the shoulder, like, wait. I'm like, if a guy does that to a woman, that's an aggressive move. But why is it okay if a woman grabs a dude and say, you're not leaving?
Yeah, we should never get hands.
It's reverse sexism.
Dude, the amount of stalking things that I have sent to me by BL, that if I was a chick, I could take it to the police right now. That one is like overly nice, and then the next one is
emotional,
overly
yeah.
aggressive. Like, you're the fucking one who always acted like. and they just go, boy. Oh, jeez. What are you going to do? All right, what do we got next, Dan?
Mr. Oliver Platt.
Oh, very nice.
And then after that, is Dan getting back here?
Dan will be back, yeah.
All right. Great.
Dan will be back and ready to go.
Hey, why shouldn't he be, right?
I mean, he's emptied himself.
Chris, that's none of our business. Please, no one bring that up to him when he comes back in here.
I definitely won't. I know that for a
Joe,
fact.
Okay.
don't razz him.
I'm not
You know
going to
what I
razz
mean?
him. It's
Chris,
office talk.
do I have your word that you won't give him a hard time about it?
I guess. I will heckle him at the next hindsight, though.
I think it's great you're using the word Raz again after all these decades. Well, I'll give him the business. I will.
I'll give him the what's for.
Yeah. What's the rumpus, young man? What's the rumpus? I'll give him the hey, how do you do? I'll give him 2 bits for a nice shave. That guy in the back, really funny. He should get to sit further up front.
Like professionally funny. It's weird.
The guy with the giant face is weirding me out.
Thank you.
All right, let's take a break here. Tonight is the Bennington family Thanksgiving. And Chris has set us up for Lulu there, so that'll be interesting to see as well. Let's get even with Ron time. This is Bennington. Oliver Platt in studio with us. Chicago Med starts Tuesdays, 9 o'clock in the East, 8 p.m. Central. How are you, my friend? Nice to see you.
Good. Thank you very much for having me, Ron.
When you get a show like this, it's the Dick Wolf show. High expectations, right?
Well, from my perspective, what it does is it's sort of one of the many things that sort of makes you feel safe. Because when you work with a guy who has that track record, that sort of really pretty, very unusual understanding of the network narrative business.
Sure.
It frees you up to really focus on what you need to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what your job is. Because let's face it, the odds are very, very long for anything getting on the air in the first place, no less staying there. And when you just, again, have a guy who not only is setting things up in a way that is just sort of more likely to succeed, but then as things unfold, really has your back.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, honestly, like the way these guys make adjustments, like once they get a first cut and they start, they keep on working. I mean, we're up to episode 6. They've been tweak. I shot the last scene for our first episode a couple of days ago, early in the morning, because the file had to be in LA by 10 a.m. for the final post cutoff. So there's a real commitment there to making this stuff as good as it can possibly be. And that's Dick.
Well, there's a real, of course, craft and art form to, like you said, doing episodic stuff of how do you roll out the storyline, keeping people attached and not blowing things too early. I mean, you got an hour and a half, 2 hours to tell a movie, but with a show like this,
43 minutes, man.
Yeah.
And that's, and to me, actually, that was, listen, we're obviously in the second or third golden age of television, depending on who you talk to, because television is finally allowed with serialization to do what always it could only do. And and finally it's like let her rip. And that's so great for all of us. But one of the things, this is old fashioned television. This is an old fashioned procedural. It's got a show that I grew up on, and it ain't easy to tell a story at the beginning and a middle and end in 43 minutes. And yet again, what's so exciting about what Dick's doing is that, other producers have obviously spun shows off before. He's literally spinning them in, right? He's taking these 3 shows and spinning them into this living sort of narrative community of 3 groups of first responders in the great city of Chicago. And so in a really sort of sneaky way, he's bringing serialization sort of back to this procedurals, which is like something that you just don't serialize them. And as an example, we're literally just finished shooting our very first 3-episode story that's going to take place, because the Fire and Med will air on Tuesday, PD will air on Wednesday. And for those who want to come along for the ride, I think this first one is airing in early January. We're telling a 3-hour story, ripped from the headlines. It's actually a very creepy story about dishonest medical practitioner that you'll all will be familiar right away to you. And then the challenge is each of those episodes also has to live on their own, right? For people who don't care to come along for the ride. So, but it certainly doesn't get boring over there because, we're all working on 3 TV shows, right?
Yeah. Well, it's all these puzzles, and if you got to work for the whole universe, you can't tell a story that somehow throws all what's happening in that Chicago universe way. But like you said, he is the guy who kind of invented that rip from the headlines type storytelling that people can get caught up in so quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of the things, Dick will be the first to tell you that his primary interest is in entertaining us and diverting us, but also, I think for him with the rip for the headlines situation, that I would say his second priority is that he wouldn't be disappointed if when you got off the couch, you might have sort of, learned something about what's going on in the headlines. In other words, in our country, and watching a story sort of re-examined through this sort of through a narrative construct of however we see it from the writer's point of view, and that's what I think. That's part of the formula. I think that makes again, I think that's part of what made Law and Order so almost like narcotic, right?
Right.
You'd sit down and be like, bung, bung, you're in.
Yeah, bung, bung.
Yeah.
Well, it's the original reason for drama, that you take things that are truth and present them to people in a way that they can think about them differently.
Right. Exactly.
But we kind of forget that, particularly where movies have gone today, where they're really big and explosive, most of them. But the really original thing, I think, for doing plays back in ancient Greece was like, look, isn't this the way we act? Isn't this?
Yeah, we're holding it's the mirror, right? You're holding up a mirror.
Yeah. And you, I guess, have the extra problem now of all this medical type jargon that you've got to be able to use and not.
Yeah, but I kind of came off easy because playing a psychiatrist. I mean this extraordinary cast and we all. Everybody did their own research before we got there, but we all got there a couple of weeks early. We all sort of did a very truncated medical school, just sort of, pounding on the Rush Medical Center in Chicago actually has this beautiful simulation lab, which is really like a hospital filled with these incredibly expensive dummies that have pulses and eyes that open and close and reflexes. And it's not just there for it's there for students. It's also there for experienced doctors who want to, investigate a new procedure. But we got to, put it this way. I was there for team building. I'm playing a psychiatrist, but it's incredibly impressive, man. I mean, I saw the first cut, of the show, and they look like these guys who have to say all that stuff.
Right.
And I mean, first of all, they will be the first to tell you that thank God for editors, but they're selling it, all those multisyllabic contraction, and doing it fast.
Yeah. So the plot lines for a psychiatrist, where do these go? How can you make that like exciting work?
Well, in every emergency room, in the blueprint of every emergency room, you'll see 2 beds at least. And on the door, it'll say something, the word consult will be there. Psychiatry for obvious reasons won't be. But an alarming amount of people who walk into general hospital emergency rooms are psychiatric patients.
Yeah.
And so the reason those beds are there is that in the process of intake, of diagnosis, very often a doctor will say, hey, I think there could be a mental health aspect to this case. And that's so they'll park the person there and they'll bring somebody like me in to sort of check it out. And again, even that's interesting dramatically because
Sure.
you got to come in there and as far as they're concerned, until they ask, you're just another doctor, right? You're not fibbing to anybody, but you want to try and figure out what's going on there, and that to me is just an interesting environment right there.
Well, I think it's also, it's interesting the fact of, if you look at most of us, if someone says your liver is sick or your kidneys are sick, how do we deal with it? But if someone tells you your brain is sick, we still push
also
back,
not just that, not just the whole stigma of it, but also literally as a medical discipline, there's no blood test for anxiety, right? You can't X-ray a nervous breakdown. There's a lot of there's abstraction.
Yeah,
there's a lot of creativity and frankly guesswork involved, and that's what makes it so interesting to me. I mean, one of the things that I stumbled upon that was like I got so excited about is the actual etymology of the word psychiatry. It was coined by a German doctor in the early 18th century, and it literally means the medical treatment of the soul. I mean, I love the concept of the soul.
Right.
I didn't know we could see it or locate it. I mean, what is the soul? So right there, that sort of speaks to the tension in the discipline, right? And the mystery of it.
Sure. Well, if you look at a lot of things, anxiety, depression, addiction, these are all kind of, for lack of a better word, soul illnesses. It's something that's tough to put your finger on. Charlie Sheen is out this week talking about his stuff, and you could see it's a hurting guy. Despite all this stuff, you're like, at some point he's either got to let people in or he's got to do something. But we see it in ourselves and all of our friends as well. Somebody's always at least a little off.
Well, but I think it's just to be human. It's like, I show me a human being who doesn't hurt every now and then, and I'll show you probably not a human being. I mean, it's just part of, and I mean, going back to something you said earlier, I think it's what really alarmed me is we're getting, sort of close up and close into the psychiatric community on a therapeutic level. It's really realizing how much still in the public there's this stigma about psychiatry, but like how embarrassed people are to admit that they, I mean, the best thing in the world you can do, what human beings, we're sort of, however we do it, we're on the earth to like unburden it, like help each other get through, right? And why not seek out a professional if you've recognized some pattern in your life that's holding you back or it remains mysterious to you. Anyway, that was astonishing to me that there's still in a lot of cultures and in a lot of subcultures in America, sort of like a shame about.
Well, returning vets still have trouble,
Well, that's a huge, and that goes directly to the military culture, though. In
Sure.
that, a soldier is not supposed to have, a feeling about, the things they're doing to do their job. And that's a really complicated issue because that's a part of the military culture that is celebrated. And yet you have to make room for these guys who are going through seeing horrific things, and they have to be, space has got to be created for them to be debriefed, to use a very technical term, and to talk about it. I mean, so I think that I give our president a tremendous amount of credit. As far as I understand, one of the first Medal of Honors that he awarded was to a guy who was openly suffering from PTSD, as somebody who had, done this truly heroic thing. And he was, shining a light on the fact, hey, it's okay. It's like these are the natural consequences of your job. And, it's a tremendous, it's a big issue.
Well, the original thing with the Catholic Church of having confession is it was, if you tell someone else what's going on inside, it somehow relieves it. The 12-step programs do the exact same thing. As soon as you sit there and say to another person without judgment, this is what I've done, almost most of the time people will go, look, you're taking this harder than you need. You know what I mean? You're making this more important than it needs to be, because inside it grows.
Well, wait, I'm not quite understanding.
Well,
I think that what you're saying, because what I was trying to say is I think that's the essence, the sort of molecular therapeutic act is telling somebody else about what you're going through. And often people are terrified to do that. Yeah. But if they find the second they do it, they'll often find the person going, dude, glad you told me.
Right.
Of course. And if I haven't gone through that myself, I know somebody who has. Right. And, often by holding on to that stuff, the damage that's done internally is what's really.
But it's almost it almost seems like magic, doesn't it? Once you say what's bothering you, it relieves it on some level.
Yeah, I think
stunning.
So. I mean, yeah, that's. I think that there's some truth to that.
Now, the other thing about psychiatry, though, is when people are feeling these anxiety disorders, whatever, you get put on meds, but it still takes 14, 21 days to kick in. So those people are kind of dealing with that over those 2-3 week periods to find out whether that drug's even working for them.
Well, another thing that's interesting is that, the more we're at such an early phase of understanding and again, I'm not a psychiatrist. I play one on TV, right? But what I've discovered is that the more sort of, you talk about pharmacology there, the more senior, the more like the guys at the top of the beanpole, the ones, in other words, who are secure in their jobs and have wisdom, they're the first to tell you that, like, with pharmacology, we are at the very beginning of understanding what's going on with the brain and the way these drugs are in. It's about throwing stuff against the wall and seeing if it sticks.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a very mysterious process where there's a lot of sort of trial and error, and but the point is the most important thing is to take that first step, and to the bravest thing somebody can do if they're holding something in is find somebody to tell them about it, right?
Sure. Chicago Med Tuesdays, 8:00, all part of this Chicago universe on NBC, where these shows are going to be interacting with each other and crossing paths, and it's a very interesting concept. But when you look at this, could you just focus on your role, though, Oliver? For you, do you just think to yourself, I can't think the bigger picture to?
Well, no, I think you always want to understand what the function of, say, whatever your story is that week in terms of the way it resonates against the other stories. Because a good script, all of these stories will be sort of thematically vibing off of each other. They'll be resonating, right? And the writer will be looking to make a point, maybe in a larger sense, metaphorically. And I think it's often the stories also they're interrelated. So that's another reason why you have to have the other story, understand all the other stories, because they're interrelated practically. Like, for instance, the 3-part story that I was just telling you, that we shot in the med version, it was very much a team effort. Like, the whole hospital was sort of uncovering this mystery, this medical mystery that sort of, with these weird coincidences started to happen, and we started to realize that they weren't coincidences. And so that involves, keep it, but to your point, it's confusing but really important to keep track of that other stuff. I mean, you focus on just what you're doing at your absolute peril. And by the way, that's what makes these scripts interesting and good, is that they have complexity to them. They are interrelated.
It's interesting how much that this kind of work is almost like detective work as well, right? As you're going through this, you really are a detective of what's going on with
if you think about it, a doctor in many ways is a medical detective, right? I mean, the reason somebody's I'm interested in the percentage of when somebody walks into either a doctor's office or a hospital and they think they know what's wrong with them. What percentage are they right?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, there's times when you walk into a hospital or doctor's office, you have no idea what the cause of your malady is. You just know something's wrong. So, yeah, in many ways, a doctor is absolutely sort of a medical detective in a sense.
We were talking about the pharmaceutical industry. It's always interesting to me, like, you'll see these commercials on TV, and the last, 2/3 of them about all the stuff that could go wrong on the drug itself. I know I'm a recovering addict, so I've told doctors there's certain drugs that I don't want, and they're like, oh no, we'll only give it to you for a little bit of time. You'll only get, 8 of these. And I'm like, dude, You don't understand. 8 and I'm off to the races, I'm certainly, but that's part of what we're, like you said, we're at the very early stages of people understanding most of this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's and so on one hand, it's a really sort of exciting time in that sense, but also it's also, this should be a lot of, it's sort of a Pandora's box too, right? You want to be, it's a double-edged sword. It's a multi, on one hand, what's the thing when you finally have to accept the fact that, oh wow, maybe in order to feel better, I need to take a pill every day. Maybe that's a complicated thing to do, even though it's absolutely the right thing for you to do. And, my experience with people who do take, those sort of mood altering, like, it's very confusing for them because at first they're going, wow, all this other stuff is better, but then I don't feel things so intensely.
Yeah.
And so it's often a balancing act. And I think that's also to do with the fact that a lot of these drugs are in their earliest phase. But again, I think that all have to be very skeptical. I think skepticism is incredibly healthy and about that kind of stuff. And yet where there is real, benefit, that's got to be recognized too.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the brain itself is so complex that these might be snowflakes that might not affect every person the same exact way.
And that's one of the, that snowflake metaphor is absolutely, every brain is totally different. You know?
Working in TV, working in movies, it's always amazing to me to see what pops. I know that you worked on Bored to Death. I thought it was one of the best shows I've ever seen in my life. There wasn't a week I wasn't looking forward to. But do you know whether these things are going to catch on, or is it always just rolling the dice every day?
You have no idea. You just you're attracted to the things that that are put in front of you that compel you. And I'm very lucky. I've had sort of a steady trickle of things put in front of me that I want to do. It's always about the writing, or it's about a combination of elements that sort of compel you, and you never know what's gonna work and what's not going to. So it's for us, most of it's about the experience of doing it.
When you say that it's steady, does it feel that way through the whole process? I mean, is there times that you feel like, there's nothing coming in that I want to do, or does it feel like, if you just hold on, the next thing will pop up?
Well, no, I'm very lucky in that, there's always something to do. And it's a question of sort of, you need to take breaks also, right? You don't want to just work for the sake of working. So it's about sort of, balancing your fatigue with, and also ultimately waiting to find something that has something about it that interests you. Because trust me, if I'm not interested in what I'm doing, you're not going to be interested watching me, so what's the point?
And then when you are interested, it takes you right back why you got into this game in the first place.
Hopefully, yeah.
Oliver Platt, thank you so much. Honestly, I believe that you're one of the best actors of your generation. There's never been a time that I haven't been interested.
You're very kind.
On the screen.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
The show is Tuesday nights, 9:00. 8 p.m. Central on NBC. It is Chicago Med. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you.
I'll see you next time coming through.
All right, I appreciate it.
Raw Dog Comedy. Sirius XM 99 and on the Sirius XM app.
It's Rejoiner Music. It's the Bennington Show. Wednesday. Tonight is a big Thanksgiving pre-taping, which you'll hear on Thanksgiving.
Right now, we're giving thanks.
Yeah, we are giving thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God it's them instead of you, or whatever that awful Bono line was. And do they know it's Christmas?
Yeah, it's mean.
Yeah, it's mean-spirited.
Really was.
Actually, even saying, do they know it's Christmas? Like, what are those dumb natives in Africa thinking?
Yeah, there's something very rude, actually, about that line. You're right. Do they even know?
Yeah. No, they're too hungry and dumb. They don't have the wheel yet. And they think tigers are somebody's friends.
Why aren't they eating and checking calendars?
Yes. Why aren't they having a little eggnog?
I'd rather give spanks.
You're disgusting, Chris, if you want to be spanked.
Ew. That's private.
Yeah, that is private.
That's your private time.
That's your private nuts. Well, we were talking about this with, Gail, we've said about how Dan is like comedy know-it-all now, and every time he turns around, he gets something else handed to him.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
I don't know whether everyone knows this, and you told me not to say it on the air yet, but I am just going to say it. Dan's getting the Mark Twain Award. And,
wow!
I know, they want to announce it.
God!
Yeah, he's going to the Kennedy Center.
What?
He's getting the Mark Twain Award.
That's our nation's capital.
By the way, all right, guess who's giving him the award?
Who?
Mel Brooks. Oh, my God.
This was a surprise.
I didn't even
Mel
finish.
doesn't know yet.
And Albert Brooks.
Lucky?
I got the Brookses. All right. Okay, but nobody tell anybody.
Okay.
Everything goes his way. But
really
we got
working
into
out.
this conversation the other day, and we put our stuff up on the iBang. If you'd like to jump into it, you can as well. And this is underrated comedies. Now, this is always a strange thing because there's only two things on underrated comedies. But generally, it comes down to you think it's funny, but other people don't think it's funny.
Right.
Or at the very least, it's forgotten how funny it was, which just means it's older.
Which I think happens a lot with comedy because comedy tends to be kind of silly and in the moment, and then you let it
It's
go.
very much in the moment.
Where I think if you see a movie that's a drama, you kind of hold that with you a little bit longer, where you could really enjoy it. You could turn on the TV, catch a comedy movie that you weren't expecting to watch, have like an amazing time watching it, crack
Right.
up, and then not go out and tell everyone you know you need to see this. You're just like, that was fun, and then you forget it.
But also, you could take, let's say, Casablanca and show it to a teenager now who doesn't know who Bogey is or the error or anything that's
Right.
backstory, and they could be engaged. But you could probably show them a comedy from that same year. There's a very good chance they go, "What is this cheesy stuff?"
It doesn't make sense.
Did people laugh at? Like, people don't understand that Bob Hope was indeed funny because that kind of humor doesn't exist these days.
And so oftentimes comedy has cultural references.
Right.
So if those things are past and they're outdated, they're not talked about anymore, you're not even sure why that's funny.
When you watch Frank Gorshin's impressions, and now they're like Kirk Douglas and stuff, you're like, what?
Yeah, the Eisenhower shit isn't hitting as hard as it did.
It's exactly true.
Yeah.
Mort Saul stuff really aged fast. You know? 'Cause he actually went up with a newspaper in his, under his arm, like just holding onto a newspaper, like my stuff is torn straight out of the news. But it's like if you go back and watch a Carson monologue, like, what?
Yeah, why was he the guy? Yeah.
Well, that's why they can't ever put those shows out on DVD or Netflix or something, because you're going to watch this shit and you're like, why is he talking about Michael Dukakis?
Yeah, and just obsessed with him for 7 months.
Right, every day. Jokes about Dan Quayle.
So this is underrated comedies, and we'll see whether we agree or even know with each other.
Yeah.
Some of these movies. We're all picking two. Mine were this. Number one, this is the forgotten Christopher Guest film, only because it's not improvised. This is a scripted film starring Kevin Bacon called The Big Picture. It's funny, fucking makes fun of what it's like to break into the business, and has some incredibly even bigger than life scenes in it. And for some reason, it never comes up.
I saw this movie years ago without even knowing it was a Christopher Guest movie. So
Is that right?
Yeah, so until you brought it up right there, I was just like, oh, this is a funny comedy, but I didn't even put together that it was a Christopher Guest one. And it's possible that if I'd seen it when it was like, oh, I'm watching Spinal Tap, now I'm going to go watch Best in Show, that I would have cataloged it higher in my brain.
But you're right, because it's scripted and it's not his regular cast, it doesn't get brought up as, yeah, it doesn't stand out.
I don't even think of it or contextualize it as a Chris Guest movie.
No, but there's stuff in it, like Michael McKean is in it.
Right.
And It really, I mean, this is really one of those films that could have been made in the 60s, 70s. Like, everyone knows that Hollywood is bullshit, but it's still so addicting that you would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
You know? If someone called you up right now and said, would you just move out here because there's a good chance we love what you're doing and we want to make it into, you'd be like, yeah, I'll go to Hollywood.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
Move my whole life out there.
I don't even know why we're discussing this. I'm on my way.
I just bought a new pair of sunglasses. This seems like a life that I can live.
But, you know, I mean, like, how many times we have to see this that some guy gets an early success, cops out, fucking, doesn't take care of his buddies, becomes a different guy. And yet, I'll watch that movie every single time, knowing that he's going to fall on his face, go back to his friends, and they're going to start from scratch.
Right.
No one ever says, no, dude. Fucking told you before. You're an asshole. Just because you're broke now doesn't mean I like you again. But it's a really, really fucking funny flick. And the things with his agent, where his agent is just like the biggest dick in the world. I'll find out who they are, and I'll grab their dicks and I'll twist it off. It's the funniest shit ever.
The whether it's the sleazy agent or the incompetent agent trope is something that will never not be funny to me in any show or series. Just the idiot agent is just always funny, no matter what.
I will agree with that, and I don't know why we love it so much.
I'll push that even to like anyone who's in like a manager type role where they're just like there to agree with the person, like assistant manager, agent, where they're just like, whatever it is, you got it. I'm totally 100% behind you. Like they'll do a 180 all for nothing.
Marty Short is the agent in this, and I'm going to tell you this: when you watch this film, The Big Picture, there's a scene where he just takes like a piece of candy and puts it in his mouth, but goes like, "Whoa!" Like, I don't know, like there's a kick to it. It's the funniest fucking scene. You know he improvised it, and I've fucking done it myself since I saw that in movies. I go, just to fucking overplay eating a piece of candy. It's ridiculous. All right, that's The Big Picture, which I think we all now agree is the definitive winner.
No, let's hear the whole list.
I'd agree it's underrated.
Now, by the way, it's underrated, and at no point are you saying, oh, this is a perfect movie. You know what I mean? Like, we're not comparing this with fucking Annie Hall or Spinal Tap. It's not that funny. It's just it's better than the recognition that it gets.
Yes.
This one, maybe it isn't that underrated because it still plays a lot on cable. I run across it all the time. But it's a film called fucking Head Office, which years before the other kind of drone working things, this is just about a bunch of humps that work in this corporation, really backstabbing, and the entire third act falls apart and becomes ridiculous, but it still doesn't ruin it for me. Have you guys seen it?
I've never seen it, but I'm looking at this cast, and I feel like this is something that I would obviously like.
Yeah, the cast has Michael O'Donoghue in it, which is crazy. It's probably the biggest film role he's ever had for something that he didn't do himself. Judge Reinhold's in it. Eddie Albert is hilarious in it. Don Novello is in it. Rick Moranis. There's all these guys have these small parts, and Rick Moranis does a scene of an office guy working the phones, lying, bullshitting his ass off. That is as funny as you got. Danny DeVito is in it.
Wallace Shawn.
Wallace Shawn is great.
I love him.
Bruce Wagner, who's this madman writer, is in real life. It's funny as shit, and then it falls into something that, it literally has a weird 80s Hollywood ending, like they do.
Would you say, because I haven't seen it, would you say that like something like Office, that it is better than a movie like Office Space, which has a huge cult following and similar Office drone-y sort of thing?
Yeah, I don't, even though Office Space had that, do you really think the hypnotism thing, you have to make that leap?
Right.
The leap here is even bigger than the hypnotism one. And it's done for no other reason. So you'll be flying along with this going, oh my God, that's one funny character part after another. But each one of these guys that I brought up as the characters falls into this hot seat of what it's like and the backstabbing that works here. And there's deaths at work. And as soon as a person's death, can I move into his office? And other people freaking out. It does fall apart, though, into the shittiest, dumbest 80s ending. But check it out for, the first 2/3, 3/4. Who's next on this? So big picture so far. Head Office. What do you got, Gail?
Okay, so my first one is a Peter Sellers movie. Now, I feel like
Being there?
No, not Being There. Great film, but does not fit in this list. So I feel like when we're talking about Peter Sellers comedy movies, Pink Panther comes up, Dr. Strangelove comes up, but I feel like this particular film is forgotten, and that is The Party. And The Party, I think, what makes it, well, first of all, it's going to be dated because it's playing on some pretty heavy Indian stereotypes that could never be done today. Not at this level.
Not with Aziz keeping an eye on things. He's pissed off about any of that. That's become his latest thing.
Particularly when you're talking about an actor who is not of that race. It's essentially like brown face that he's doing. Right. However, that aspect of the comedy might be dated. However, I think that it is genius in its slapstick. It's crazy funny. And that aspect of it makes it completely timeless.
Birdie num num.
Birdie num num.
Birdie num num.
I'm giving the birdie num nums.
Now, by the way, you say stereotype though, but when we were up in Montreal, Chris and I went out to breakfast and there was an Indian family sitting next to us. And the guy was Peter Sellers from The Party.
Really? Are you kidding me?
He was constantly thanking the waiter for doing things for him. And it was like, and he was laughing before, like, you a wonderful man for, and I'm just sitting there and I'm going, this is a Peter Sellers character. I thought you were going to say it's dated for the music and the wacky, hey, we're all hippie love child.
I love that aspect. And I actually have that on vinyl. I have that soundtrack on vinyl because I love the music. It's Henry Mancini and it's phenomenal. But I love the way the house is used. It's got that farce kind of feel where it's like you're in and out of rooms and it kind of almost feels like theater. And it's crazy how much of the film is silent. I mean, like there's, especially in the beginning where we're establishing kind of how he falls into situations and his bad luck and the way
this
he deals with it.
This is Blake Edwards, right?
Yeah, it's a Blake Edwards film. And there will be just like 5 full minutes with no dialogue whatsoever. And it's fallout funny. And I had the experience of telling someone like, this is an incredible movie. You have to watch this movie. You're going to be dying laughing. And about 10, 15 minutes later, I look over and they're sleeping. And I realize like, oh, it's so like, it's a silent.
The pacing isn't.
The pacing is really slow and it takes a long time.
Movie?
I have not seen it.
No, I have
Chris?
not.
I've seen it.
You know what's fun about you is interacting.
He actually just reminded me of that agent character who's like half in the situation. She's on the phone.
We'll get the deal. I got you.
We're in. Yeah.
I read the script. Love it.
But yeah, I think both of you guys, Dan and Joe, will love this film.
Yeah.
It's crazy funny.
I think for you, Joe, get baked.
Okay.
And for you, Dan, just pay attention to the strange comedic fucking genius of Sellers. And people, by the way, who worked with him say that he was a nightmare. You know what I mean?
I believe it, yeah.
They thought that he was crazy, that he would pray for scenes to work. It's like we were talking about Kramer yesterday.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you work in that physical way,
Yeah.
you bring a different scene to it, but I just, he's one of my favorite humans.
I saw this movie very young, and because of that cartoony slapstick aspect, I was in tears then. Like, I was laughing so hard. It was like watching a really weird old cartoon come to life. And then of course there's, like I said, the music, and because it's very adult, there's, people are getting drunk, there's, like people are smoking weed, and it felt very adult and silly at the same time. So that was like incredibly attractive to me when I was young, like dance party and like it's sexy and yeah.
Well, that French chick is amazingly sexy.
She's so stunning. And there's tons of beautiful women in it. It's all like really hot mod and hippie chicks throughout the whole thing.
And that's before she shot her boyfriend in real life.
She did?
Yeah, she shot a famous skier. Spider something. It was a very, very big story.
Weird.
For a while. And she also, she walked on it. She didn't do any time. It was weird. Somebody else came in to help her, like Andy Williams or something crazy.
Claudine Longuette, something like that.
Yeah, what was the guy's name that she shot? He was a...
Spider Sabich.
I said Spider. That's weird that I remember that much of it. But I believe she walked on it. Yeah, it's an incredibly funny thing. And what is the music? Is it like the bop, bop, ba-da, bop, bop, bop?
Yeah. It's got that kind of sound. It's like jazzy mod
cocktail music.
Yes, exactly.
Fucking Henry Mancini, weird genius.
Yeah,
weird genius. What's your next one?
My next one is going in a very opposite direction, and it's an underrated teen movie from the early aughts called The Girl Next Door.
This is a shocker to me.
So this was a movie that I stumbled across. Wasn't gonna watch it because that's not really my thing. It's kind of like one of those, movies. It's got a hot girl on the poster.
Right.
It's gonna be like a sexy teen comedy.
We got to get laid.
Exactly. That exact premise. The premise is the boy in the film is doesn't get laid and he's uncool, and the girl next door moves in and he falls for her, but it turns out in real life she's a porn star. So he's like, oh my gosh, it's so zany.
There's no way this bumbling nerd can fuck this hot girl.
And how's he going to deal with it? However, first of all, the performances are really funny. Emil Hirsch is the boy, the main character, and he's adorable. A young Paul Dano is in it, and he's phenomenal. And Timothy Olyphant is kind of bad guy-ish, but like way too likable to be an actual bad guy, and he's crazy funny in it. So when it comes to those kind of movies, you always have kind of low expectations, but it pushes.
Well, I think I tried to watch this and turn it off back about the first time it came to cable.
Yeah.
But I didn't even know that any of those people that you brought up went on to be the stars that they are.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like they were all like no names to me at the time.
I own this movie on DVD.
You do?
Jack scenes. How many times?
It's very sexy.
Elijah Cuthbert.
Alicia Cuthbert. Yeah, she's very hot.
Fucking
she's
hot.
crazy attractive.
So you guys have seen this movie?
Yeah, I've seen it, and I like this movie. And honestly, I feel like I agree. It's like it's one of those teen comedies that it's a little better than the average ones.
That's how I felt about it. And during this time, the early aughts, there was so many. It was like coming off of the wake of the American Pies. Like American Pie was probably like late 90s, and it did so well that there was the sequels, and then everybody was trying to make an American Pie movie.
Right.
So there were so many bad ones that
risky
were
business, like Cruel Intentions kind of shit.
Yeah, that same thing, and they were all pretty bad. But when you put this movie up against an American Pie, there's no reason that you would pick that one over the other. I think
And I'd also say I thought this one was funnier and more fun than a movie that everyone that I think is overrated, 500 Days of Summer,
right?
Which people talk about as like a great, young comedy, and I just
there's a backlash against it, but I actually like it quite a bit. I think it's pretty witty.
I think it's a good movie. I just think it's a little overhyped from people who are trying to be like, oh, this
I didn't know that people loved it
meaningful.
that much.
Yeah, I think that's very much overhyped.
But what's the American Pie kid's name?
Jason Biggs.
Like, even they had like a couple Jason Biggs movies, you know, like he was just doing like a couple of those teen comedies. There were so many of them.
But it goes back even decades, and you know, Porky's was in the 80s.
Right. But I do think that there tends to be like little like waves of them.
Sure.
Because something like will hit as big as American Pie did, and then they're like, we need to make a movie like that.
Because they're like slasher films. You can make them cheap, you get it dumb, and then the kids will come over and over and over.
And you don't need to cast stars. These could be young actors who've never.
Blonde,
exactly.
Again, when you brought this up, I'm like, this is a weird choice. But when you mentioned those names, I never realized that those people were in it. And I know I saw it like the first time it came to cable.
Yeah.
And probably didn't make a throw.
And Timothy Olyphant is really good.
He's actually a great actor.
He's phenomenal, yeah.
All right, who's next? Dan?
Yeah, all right. Well,
underrated comedies. Up on the iBang if you want to go check it out and add yours.
Well, the first one I picked was old Hitchcock movie, The Trouble with Harry, which
I do not know this movie.
So this was, I think, the only comedy he made, or at least one of them.
Well, what about The Birds?
That had some laughs. Psycho.
Did you
The
see?
shower scene was pretty funny.
Hilarious.
Oh, so silly.
You thought you were the star.
Strangers on a Train.
I laughed.
Yeah.
No,
I don't know this movie.
Yeah, it's a really fun movie. So it's like these four characters. They're in this small Vermont sort of town, and one of them is like hunting and fires a shot and finds this dead body, a corpse that they find his ID, and his name is Harry. So he thinks he killed him, and he drags his body somewhere. Someone else finds the body and thinks that they're responsible for killing it. And then one by one, they all find this corpse and then meet up with each other, each one thinking they're responsible for killing this dude. And then it all ends up with them trying to hide a body like in a...
Yeah, this is the kind of stuff that they... Shirley MacLaine, who I love.
Yes, this was her first movie ever.
Jerry Mathers.
Yes.
The Beef.
Baby.
Yeah, Baby Beaver.
Hey,
which you can
that's
get in trouble
gross.
for. Yeah, you can get in trouble. Well, it's not gross. It's just gross to be lusting after it.
Sure.
It's perfectly normal.
There's no reason to feel shame.
I know,
I'm sorry.
that child is but this sounds like an old like play. Those farce plays.
It
that used
does,
to
yeah.
Take place.
I mean, it's a fun kind of simple. It's almost like just a sketch that's executed really, really well. And I feel like, I mean, it's just light. It's funny. And I feel like if it were a comedy name attached to it,
yeah.
Like if it were like this could easily be a Marx Brothers kind of plot.
Right.
And I feel like if one of those names were attached, then it would be more hailed as like a comedy that we would remember at least.
And you said this is Shirley MacLaine's first movie?
It was her first movie ever. Yeah.
Wow. That's stunning to me.
Yeah. 1955.
That just reminded me, this would have been a Shirley MacLaine movie that I would have used called What a Way to Go, which is one of my favorite
Love that movie.
of all time. If somebody would have asked me, have you seen all the Hitchcock? I would have said yes. And then one day I went and looked up the Hitchcock, and most I haven't seen.
Yeah,
You know
there's
what I
a
mean?
ton of
There
them.
is so much.
He made so many movies, and he would remake his movies.
Right.
Like he would just like, I'm just gonna give this one another shot, which nobody does now. Like remake their own films,
Right. And I guess most of the stuff I've seen is like from the mid 50s to 70s, but the amount of movies that he did before that, just crazy.
Yeah, it's
Crazy.
nuts how prolific.
So this
he
is
was.
one I definitely want to say. By the way, I do have a soft spot for a good farce. I like a farce.
There's a reason that they work so well.
Yeah.
They're very entertaining to
Well,
watch.
we don't do it that much anymore, right? Like, what's the last farce that we had? Like, not even TV.
Delta farce.
You know something, Joe?
Come
I
on,
mean,
man.
we know you know wordplay.
Okay.
We know it.
Well, no, that's an
But
actual
right
movie,
now-
though.
You know
ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know it's Delta Force. I'll send you home with your brother.
Send him.
Okay.
Send him home
Send-
crying.
Well, that's right. You're mad because he's exactly the producer. All right.
Yeah.
Oh shit. What's your next one, Dad?
Back to School. which Rodney Dangerfield, I think it's his funniest movie, including Caddyshack.
Yeah.
I'll watch it every single time it comes on. I mean, Rodney's hilarious in every scene as Thornton Mellon, the guy who's going back to school. It's got young Robert Downey Jr. It's got Sam Kinison, who's just about
I'm
the
going to say
funniest.
this. I didn't know it was underrated. I thought this was a
quite rated.
Giant hit.
I feel like it's maybe not as discussed as it should be.
Right.
But I
Also
do
got
think-
Oingo Boingo.
I would say in this room, like among us, we
Yeah.
probably acknowledge that it's a great comedy. But if I were to talk to friends in maybe like Joe and I's age group and mention Back to School, they wouldn't know that where they would know Caddyshack, where I think it should be considered
Caddyshack
up
is
there.
enormous. I get it. But by the way, I think it's Kinison's only time on in movies.
I think so too, and he's so funny as the history teacher in that scene.
He's
Who's
just
like
straight
a
Kinison.
Vietnam vet who just like rips out the chair and just
Yeah.
screams in Rodney's face. It's one of the funniest scenes.
It's literally straight out of his. Here I am, slobbing it out with Charlie while you're back here.
And Rodney running the company Tall and Fat, so
Yeah.
he's rich. And someone's like, I recognize you, you're tall and fat. He's like, yeah, well, you're short and ugly. Give me my pen back. It's just Rodney.
He's making that giant sandwich early on.
Yeah.
So Fred Flintstone. I'm like, you're literally doing a Fred Flintstone fucking scene here.
He does that, and he has one of my favorite lines where, because he has a lot of money, so he's just having everybody, like a staff, do his homework for him. So you just see them like they're in a lab, like all doing his homework, and someone's like, "Here's your lab report, Mr. Mellon," and he doesn't even read it. He just like weighs it, and he's like, "That's too light. It feels like a C. Bulk it up and add some multicolored graphs." Just love that.
Oh, fuck you, Vonnegut. Yeah, I think it's great. If anyone hasn't seen it, the weird thing is Robert Downey Jr. is the buddy, and the guy who was the scary kid in Christine is his son.
The son, yeah.
That's the weirdest part of. Like he
was the nerd. He was like getting fucked with in that movie.
Yeah.
Robert Downey
Yeah.
Jr.
He's basically the gay Fred.
And Burt Young is in it too. Paulie.
Paulie's great in it.
Rodney's bodyguard.
And for some reason, much stronger than you would expect that old man to be.
He's jacked up, man.
All right, what's your next one?
Oh, those are my two.
Oh, you had two?
Yeah.
Chris, you.
I have one. It's the follow-up to the Broken Lizard
Get
guys.
closer to
Right
the
up-
microphone.
right up in there.
So we can't understand you at all. You're the only one wearing headphones.
You can hear yourself.
And we can hear you overmodulating through your headphones.
The follow-up to Broken Lizard Super Troopers.
Oh.
Club Dread.
Oh,
I swear to God,
please
no,
stop.
it bombed terribly. No one ever
No,
talks about
just Broken Lizard every fucking 5 minutes with you. No matter what we do around here, you bring up a Broken Lizard.
What about Broken Lizard, guys?
He does it all the
it.
time.
Broken Lizard's Club Dread is a funny film that no one talks about. It's completely underrated. Bombed. It was their follow-up. Like once they got all that success from Super Troopers, this is what they did next.
How much success did they have?
Good about. They've made about 6 or 7 films off of Super Troopers. Now they're making Super Troopers 2.
Then how?
Got all the info.
He knows. He's got all the facts.
Oh yeah,
All the lizard facts.
it's about this.
Now this is 2004. This looks like a 1972 movie.
How could that be?
It's great.
It looks like they shot it on fucking Polaroid Instamatic. Look at the faded color. Like you can see the colors have faded.
I just said Chris's two comedies he's been the most enthusiastic about have both had a lot of Jack scenes in it.
Yeah.
Club Dread and Girl Next Door are the ones he's hyped up heavily.
It's very
As
sexy. There's
Underrated
breasts.
comedies.
Yeah, not fucking
Good
Jack
for a
movies
laugh.
you like to jerk off to.
Jerk movies.
That's great though. Bill Paxton plays a Jimmy Buffett type character, and he has like songs like Pina Colada Berg and etc. Coconut Pete is his character name, and he has this resort where people start getting killed. It's a spoof of say a slasher film, but it's on a Club Med type resort. Bill Paxton very funny in it. Club Dread is a funny movie. I swear to God.
I believe you, Chris.
Chris, I saw a job opening for the world's worst film critic. If you want to go for it, I think you're a shoo-in. You give away plot points
Yeah.
and yell out spoilers.
I swear to God, it's fucking good. I swear to God.
Give it a fucking chance.
No one else had to see.
Dude, he had those dudes come in one time. He was so fucking excited.
So happy.
There had to have been 9 of them. They were just packed in here. And they stayed in for 20 minutes, and not one of them went for a joke.
No, it was very disappointing.
And I'm fucking, I'm pulling teeth in here. I don't know these fucking guys.
Sure.
I look over at Chris. I see him just fucking looking around, like behind himself. He wanted no fucking part of jumping in and helping.
That was a dry group of men.
That was the day I started hating you.
That was it.
That was the day. He can pinpoint the exact moment.
Yeah. I'm like, so Chris, what's going on with that?
The day the lizards broke.
They're my bros. And then
why though?
I enjoy Super Troopers and Club Dread. If they're on, I watch them.
This is how they were in the thing with me. Well, we write some of the scenes together, and sometimes we'll write separately and then bring it into the group. And boy, that gets the hijinks going.
My favorite part before the interview, there was like 6 of them. They put one of them up to the mic, like, this guy's got to be on the mic. He's the funniest out of all of us, and he said 2 fucking words the entire interview.
Oh my God.
I remember what he said. I agree. And ditto. And yet you're still fucking backing these guys
I'm
up.
still backing for Super Troopers.
Their fucking films one after another.
For Super Troopers and Club Dread, yes. And Club Dread is a underrated comedy.
I will say this. I haven't seen it. Any of you guys have seen this?
I have seen it.
I have not seen it.
It was funny, but I was 13 at the time too.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
What do you mean bullshit?
But also, I mean, it has
Wasn't
this Jimmy
13?
Buffett character in it, which is kind of ironic that you might like it.
Really?
Yeah,
I
because
will
you
like
don't
it.
like Jimmy Buffett.
Because it mocks out Jimmy Buffett and what he does.
Buffett fan.
No. All right, my next
Changes in attitudes, changes in latitude. You got any more, Chris? Or that
Matinee. Does anyone remember this John Goodman
John
vehicle?
Goodman?
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like there's no one else in the movie. There's not one other star. It's just all Goodman. And he's like he's a movie producer bringing a B movie to like Key West during the missile crisis, and everyone in the town's freaking the fuck out as he's trying to put on this film. As a kid, I loved it. I rewatched it recently. I still loved it.
I haven't seen this. You guys have all seen this?
I've seen it. I've got. Let me check my old review here on my blog. See what it said. That's not good, man. This is a film that I felt like had a premise because it was one. He would pump these movies where you had to do extra stuff in it to get the audience.
There'd be
So,
like
there'd be a
X-ray
buzzer in the
vision,
seat.
Right.
Yeah.
He'd have explosions going off during it. He'd have people like monsters running through the
Ever
crowd.
since Trainwreck and Batman, we fear that movie theaters.
So this goes back to a simpler time.
Really? Because they wouldn't let blacks vote.
Simple.
Yeah. I guess that is simple. You know what? You're right. It was a better time.
Guess this movie.
And women could be raped, and no one would believe that.
No punishment.
Easy.
But neither of those things show up in Matinee, which if you like John Goodman, go see Matinee.
I do like
Underrated.
John Goodman.
He's got a bomb movie out right now called The Coopers or Christmas with the Coopers. It's him and Diane Keaton, and just
hanging with the Coopers or whatever.
Yeah, I just watched the critics just fucking beat the shit up.
Love
John,
the Coopers.
I said this before about John Goodman. I'm going to repeat it now. If he only did Coen Brothers movies, if that was the only acting he did, people would call him America's greatest actor. But he does other films
and Matinee,
like Matinee.
Oh, I enjoyed. I stand behind Club Dread and Matinee fully.
No one else had to defend theirs this hard, though.
I have great taste.
I swear to God. I swear to you. You're my friends. I wouldn't lie to you.
Spoiler.
That's
Watch
good.
the fucking
That's Chris's film critic bio. I have great taste.
Well, I haven't seen Matinee in many, many years. I remember thinking, oh, this could be good if we're in better hands. If someone else would have directed it and stayed with the premise.
It was fun.
But I'll try it again. And Club Dread, is that it?
Club Dread.
I'm going to give it a try.
Thank you.
All right, this takes us to Joey Jojo.
Yes. Okay, so for my first movie, it's a newer movie, came out in 2010. It's called Tucker and Dale versus Evil. which is a movie that, as far most movies in my time, this one is I've heard about through the grapevine the most, like the buzz around it, but I've never seen one advertisement for it. So it was a friend who told a friend who told a friend, but it has a really original plot. It's very funny. It's about these two hillbillies who buy their dream home, which is a dilapidated shack. And then there's these young, hot kids who go there and they start telling the story about the hillbilly massacre, this thing that happened 20 years ago before. So they're two well-meaning hillbillies who get mistaken for killers, and the hijinks ensue.
Okay.
This sounds worse than Club
Should I
Dread.
jump ahead to the hijinks? Should I just not even watch the first 20 minutes?
I guess I just gave you the first.
No, you got to
20.
be ready, so you're excited. If you
I'm
just,
already ready.
But
I'm ready for the hijinks to ensue.
if you just click on and there's hijinks, you're like, how do we get here?
I want
the
the
journey, not the destination.
This is too
Dan.
silly right off the bat. Too many laughs.
I might be exhausted. It's like Ronda fucking Rousey getting fucking just pounded.
So is it spooky then?
Yeah, it's kind of scary at parts, but the thing I really like about it is very original. So, in the sense that what if this movie was told from the killer's perspective, only they were completely well-meaning, great people.
That doesn't make any sense to me at all. Have any of you guys seen this movie?
I've never seen it, nor
Heard of it? The buzz?
Is there any?
As we were this underground buzz that was going around Minnesota?
Yeah, in Minnesota, yeah, it's great.
Minnesota buzz.
I will definitely watch this film, even though you've done a horrible job of explaining. That last part was so confusing. And not a single star in this film.
Not a single star.
It's got Katrina Bowden in it. She was the assistant on 30 Rock, the blonde, cute secretary who's very attractive.
Yeah.
So it was made on a shoestring budget. It won a bunch of awards at South by Southwest when it first came out. Really worth the watch, really funny, but here's a spoiler alert.
Don't.
Come on, man.
Not coming this time, but maybe at a future date. But very good. You guys should definitely watch it. It's very funny.
I want to see it.
I actually do want to see it. Turn me around on this.
I mean, this doesn't sound like the shit that Chris was trying to fucking
no way.
shove down our throat.
Guys, bullshit. This is bullshit.
Really good.
First of all, Dan says Back to School. That is not an underrated comedy.
It is.
Definitely not.
He made a point for it. He said to his age group.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was you, I would look it up on Box Office Mojo, see how much money it made, go to Rotten Tomatoes, see how it did critically. Yeah. I thought it was weird that, that when I brought up Boingo Boingo, none of you guys know.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Dead Man's Party, bro.
Yeah,
made
the only
$100 million.
fucking hit they ever had.
$100 million Back to School made.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
$100 million.
$100 million. In 86.
86. That's like saying you made $2 billion.
Box office has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Well, I mean, whether people know it or not. See the Rotten Tomatoes on it. Chris, stop fucking jerking off to all your fucking home movies. Here's a movie that I jerk off to all the time. Like, that's not what I'm talking about.
You guys are going to jerk off to one of these ones that Gail suggested, and not the one you think.
Asian Anal Adventures, Part 4. Underrated. They talk about the first 3.
84% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, that's pretty high, Dan.
It's a great movie.
I know that. How's it underrated?
Because not enough people are acknowledging that. It should be up there. I'm guessing it wasn't on the funniest screenplay list we talked about the other day.
Right.
And it should be considered one of the funniest movies.
Well, that's going to, that weird diving scene.
Where
it doesn't even look anything like him. Did you ever notice that?
Yeah, it's just like a thin stand-in.
With a bad wig.
And guess what? Club Dread made $5 million. It's 29% like the Rotten Tomatoes.
Just digging a hole now.
Guess who got the other
What?
Congrats, your movie sucked.
What shit?
You're not just talking about opening weekend. You're talking about total.
Gross. $5 million.
Yeah.
Global, international.
Gross. So, anyways.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, man.
So for my second movie, it's this New Zealand flick. It's a mockumentary. And I am not kidding you. It came out last year, but it has to be probably, and I'm saying this now, the funniest mockumentary I have ever seen.
No, come
You're right,
on.
fuck by the liar.
It's a mockumentary.
Their Spinal Tap, I know. I get it, but this one is so...
You mentioned Christopher Guest earlier. You're going to throw all of that out.
Okay. Well, here, let me just set it up. It's called What We Do in the Shadows. It was made by the guys who produced Fly the Conchords.
Okay.
And it takes place in New Zealand, but it's about these vampires and what they do, their everyday life.
I've heard about this from people. I heard it was wonderful. I heard some critics talk
It's
about
very funny, very clever. It's about these vampires who are roommates who decide to live together after all these years, and them getting ready to the club, for the club to like feed on people, and their day-to-day is like, what if one vampire doesn't do chores? What happens then?
Right.
So it's just about these flatmates, these 4 vampires, and how they've dealt with transitioning from normal life to vampire life. It's very funny.
Can we just say this, though? In this country, we should never say flatmates.
I'm trying to speak like they do in New England.
You don't need to.
New England. New England.
Just said New England. You idiot.
Flatmates.
New Zealand. Don't they say that in
New Zealand,
Boston?
bro. New NZ. You think there's fucking Kiwis in New England? Huh?
All right.
Get one of the flatmates to park. Watch the Pats.
New Zealand. The All Blacks.
No, that's my flatmate.
But it's But when all said and done,
This movie's wicked departed.
It's very good.
I like that both of yours, like you had a 2010.
Yeah.
And 2014, you're a millennial boy.
You are a millennial.
I mean,
Totally.
2010 it was the throwback.
yeah, I mean, Dan's, both of his movies were not even made while he was a living being.
Yeah,
Because
Joe.
he thinks he's a real cool guy.
Yeah.
I did one cool one and then like one like uncool. It's like in High Fidelity.
Right.
When he's just like, when you're making the list, you're like, I see what you did. You hid that one in there. You picked one to look
You
cool.
straddled the line.
I did 2 cool ones.
This one made 4.
You're becoming the dick of this show, dude.
And
you
you're
gotta
allowing
stop
it.
yourself. You shouldn't be.
He's allowing
He's
it.
asking for it.
You're trashing my movie. 6% on Rotten Tomatoes. It made $14.
I got good boy magic. That's really
Yeah.
He's crazy. He's a crazy person.
Yeah, he is. He's a crazy fucking character now. I don't know what happened to him ever since he started scope rowing.
It turned him nuts.
Yeah.
The fame went to his head.
It has.
And the instant feedback, I think, is part of it.
Right. Hey, Scope Bros. Scope Bros.
Look at all these fucking hearts.
It's kind of like the big picture, you know?
Yeah.
Where will we accept him back at the end? We'll see.
Dusty Nuts. Scope Bro.
Dusty Nuts is a great scope, bro.
He is pretty loyal.
Man, this list made me think of even more that I wish I had added.
Like what?
I just thought of this one. Gross Point Blank. I would have put on that list.
So High Fidelity and Gross Point Blank you would have added to the list.
Well, like High Fidelity. I feel like High Fidelity is rated well. Like, I think people remember that movie, but I don't think people think of Gross Point Blank as a good movie or like a great movie.
That was really fun.
I think it's a pretty flawless dark comedy.
I love it.
It's very good.
Can I add another one?
Is it by the same fucking guys?
No. Captain Ron. Does anyone ever enjoy Captain Ron?
Yes, it's on fucking TV 24 hours a day.
Great Martin
I
Short.
literally have a Captain Ron fucking channel.
I'm never not watching
I need
Captain
to
Ron.
get that channel.
I guarantee you, just go to your search engine and hit Captain Ron, and it'll come up anytime.
I would add on What's Up Tiger Lily, the Woody Allen movie where he dubs
And he hates it.
He hates that movie. He's ashamed he made it. He took this old Japanese movie and bought it, and it was like a Japanese James Bond kind of thing, a spy thriller, and just redubbed his voice or some other voices and just made it this like comedy about these people like searching for a secret recipe for egg salad. And so it's just like they're doing all this crazy shit, but for just such a silly thing that the voices don't match up really well with what they're saying.
It's really like a 1964.
Yeah, it's one of
weird
his
thing.
first things.
Yeah. It's pretty brilliant. But it's always funny because Dan and Gail's brother are the only people who really focus on Woody Allen pre Annie Hall. When everybody else is like, oh, this is marvelous. You guys really love those bits. And we talked about farces. Those things are pretty fucking crazy. But those movies are funny as shit.
It's just silly. It's just pure fun. It's just a funny concept. I don't know why he would be embarrassed that he made it. Yeah, it's not gonna win awards or get him.
It did. It won the Oscar. Which was great. The other day when I was watching this thing, they showed in Take the Money and Run. He's getting on a subway, basically in this neighborhood, and it looks so scary, like just the subway itself, and being down there. And one of the guys mugging him is Sylvester Stallone. It's so fucking funny to see. And it was like maybe a year and a half later he was Rocky. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh, this was done years before. It basically looks like he's just being mugged by Rocky.
He was tough guy number 2.
Yeah.
And then 2 years later,
tough guy number 1.
Yeah. Italian stallion.
Oh, Dan, you fuck. Hey, we got to wrap this one up, guys.
It's been a good one. We've got a big night ahead of us.
Love it.
We've got a big night tonight, but then even a bigger morning after that night. We're going to break into a place and steal a child away from a rich family. So hopefully we'll be able to sell that child back to that family.
I
hope so.
Really looking forward to this caper. The first of many capers, I hope.
I hope it's the first of many capers still.
Can they all be kidnappings?
Each kid we steal, we can use on the next caper.
Well, I don't know how that'll work out.
We train them.
Well, we won't be getting any money if we just raise them as our own.
Oh,
that's the problem.
I thought we were going to form like a caper team of some sort.
Joe just wants to do it for love of the game.
I love that.
For love of the caper.
Pure.
I definitely want to do this. I at least want to send some digits back to the parents. Going, guess what this is, a toe or a finger. It's hard to tell with little ones. Well, we got to wrap it up. Dan, you got anything else to add? Danny? Don't be like that, dude.
Come on.
Come on, Dan.
Don't sit there with a thumb in your ass and another one in your mouth and think that that's cool. It isn't.
Was it from the shitting earlier?
I
we
told
never
you.
were going to
Dan,
mention.
Dan, come
We
back.
never. Danny! Danny! Dan! He's gone now.
Chris, I told you. Everyone promised, and you lied. And now he's
You
gone.
know what? Now he can't draw his cartoon.
He could draw in his own shit.
That's just ridiculous.
No, he can't.
There's not a network on the planet that would run that.
Shit tunes.
That's it. I'm out. We're ending this show today. We got anything to plug? Thank our friend Oliver Platt. I guess our friend. Yeah, I got a very serious talk with him. I don't know why.
I think you're close now.
Seth Rogen, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Anthony Mackie.
And their movie is what?
The Night Before, which comes out this Friday in theaters everywhere.
I'll be standing in line with it starting Thursday. I'll be camping out. All right, that's it for us. See everybody again in 1974.
Ladies and gentlemen, the evening is over. We hope you all enjoyed yourselves, and we'll see you all again in 1974. Good evening!